La 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 la. Ooh, la 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 la. Bloop. Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry I'm a little bit late tonight. I got a little sidetrack. I was answering some DMs that I didn't. I have ADD and we're time blind, so forgive. Oh, I have no sound? My lips are moving, but there's no sound? I don't believe it. I don't believe there's no sound. I think she's lying.
No, I'm sorry.
My sound girl is lying to me, guys.
I flubbed.
She flubbed.
I flubbed. Holy crap, I'm sorry.
So what's happening, hot stuffs? How's everybody doing tonight? Looks like it's not a packed house, which is maybe a good thing. Whew. Yeah, Christian says they can hear me. So we're.
No, it's fine. It was me.
It's Camilla's ears. They're full of wax again. CJ apparently showed me his dick. Hold on, where is it? Is it in Discord? Is it in the DMs or in the mod chat? Well, anyway, welcome aboard tonight, everybody. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. It's been one of those days. My wife and I went to the nearby town of Port Jefferson, which is like a good 40 minutes away or so. And we had a good time. We went and I cheated. I had a bowl of karaage, which is actually not the worst way to cheat. It's not like I had, all the cookies and crap that I had afterwards, which is so much worse. But, whatever. A cheat day every now and then is not so bad. It kind of sucks because I've tried going off of keto and immediately I just started ballooning up like ridiculous. I should go see a doctor. I probably have a thyroid problem, but who cares? I don't plan on living forever. Life is just an illusion. Consciousness never dies, and that is what we are. So, as you might be able to tell, I am sort of in the mood to really focus on basically what is called non-duality tonight. The various forms and expressions of it, the various perspectives of it, consciousness, everything related to that is probably an important topic tonight because when, magic is fun and it's important, but it is nothing but another expression of consciousness. It is nothing but another manifestation of consciousness. And it is often overcomplicated because in history there was a need to occult it for whatever reason. Partially because many of its origins had to do with cultures that certain uptight religions, dogmatic authoritarian religions couldn't tolerate. It threatened their hegemony. And the truth behind all of it is that even those dogmatic religions knew essentially not the same truth, but a similar truth in their own way. And it was not meant for the masses because liberation, if everybody knew, if everybody realized there is nobody, that there is consciousness that looks like people, places, and things, if everybody realized that we're all the same consciousness experiencing itself from these different perspectives all at the same time, and not just in this world, but all worlds. And there are no worlds. There's only consciousness that looks like worlds. And there aren't even dimensions. There's only consciousness that looks like different dimensions and universes. If everybody realized this fully, especially the way some of us do, like me and many others, they could not control us. And they would have no need for moralistic laws, at least not to the degree that they have. Individuals would most likely be possessed of sincere compassion for one another, or at least compassion in a pragmatic hands-off sense, if not, certainly not the goody-goody compassion. I'm not referring to the light worker compassion, okay? I'm referring to the kind of compassion that, say, a wildlife photographer has when they witness a lame gazelle that's maybe fell down and broke its leg, and they have the ability to render aid to it. They could go out and they could fix its leg and that gazelle would run free. But instead they just photograph it and let a lion eat it. And a goody two-shoes, a moralist, a person who is stuck in a sort of dualistic, egoic, childish mentality will say, they should save the poor gazelle, but then they would be depriving the pride of lions their due meal. That's what they're there for. You know, predators are only a step above scavengers in a sense, because they're sort of preempting the scavengers. They're sort of cleaning up, you know, nature by killing the lame, the sick, the unlucky, and eating them. And it's part of the circle of things. And so a wildlife photographer is being more compassionate by leaving that gazelle to its fate than stepping in and saving it. That's a very arrogant perspective to have, that you're supposed to save everything. But at the same time, if something is suffering and it is in your power to do something, and it is asking for help, or in any way, shape, or form, it is your responsibility to take care of, then of course you do. You don't need a moralistic code for this. When you have a divine realization of what you are, you don't need rules to tell you when to save the gazelle or anything like that. It's literally just understood, okay? It's intuitive. You recognize in all things and all beings the same divinity within. So they don't want you to have this knowledge, but now they can't really stop it. Entire cultures on this planet are based upon it. You know, as soon as you leave Western society, it's almost like Western society is a crater for spirituality and psychic reason and anything of metaphysical, philosophical value. The problem with Western society, and I blame, unfortunately, what Orthodox, not Christianity as an entity, as a myth. I don't blame the myth. I blame what the organized religions did with it, turning it into a system of dualistic, materialistic control. So we can blame Christianity as an institution, as a spiritual path. There's nothing wrong with it. There are non-dual interpretations of Christianity, which are quite effective if that is your cultural metaphor of preference. One might refer to the Gnostic tradition, although Gnosticism was a dualistic tradition, admittedly, as we know it, but there was non-dual expressions of it too. But if one takes a non-dual approach to Christianity, which incidentally is built in to a degree in the Jewish origin of Christianity, the Old Testament, although we know the Old Testament's full of, you know, fire and brimstone stuff, the essence of it, you know, the Torah and all of these things, they look at your Kabbalah. That is a monistic, which is adjacent. It's not non-duality, but it's adjacent to non-duality. They're saying a similar thing, almost the same thing. Same thing with Neoplatonism, Platonism, Hermeticism. They're all saying fundamentally the same. Animism, all of it is saying fundamentally the same thing, just a little differently, maybe even a lot differently. There might be some dualism in it, there may not be, but all of them are telling you that we're all one, that's all connected, that all is God. A lot of that is the beginner's understanding. When I was beginning this, my first epiphany was all is one. Well, that's silly. That's like saying oceans are made of waves. All is not one. A bunch of waves don't come together and make an ocean. You can take the ocean out of the wave, but you can't take the wave, you can isolate the wave in the ocean, but as soon as you separate the ocean and the ocean remains, but the wave goes away. There would be no wave without the ocean, and all waves are the ocean waving. So this idea of we're all one, this new age poppycock bluster, it's a level 1 understanding. It's not even 101. It's like you heard about 101, you know, off of some guy on the street. Yeah, if you take spirituality 101, you learn that all is one, you know. because that's easier for a dualistic, materialistic person to wrap their head around first. Because ever since you were born, you have been indoctrinated into this idea that you're this. And when I say that you're this, I don't mean that this isn't what you are. I mean, you're taught you're exclusively this and everything else is separate from you. That consciousness, here's the biggest thing. I just the other day had a new, we'll say another up, leveling up. As much as I talk about these things in a very intellectual way and understand them, and have had very potent Gnostic realizations. And this is hard to explain. It's like I knew this, but it hit me like 2 days ago or yesterday. Yeah, 2 days ago. I was at work and I realized something that's obvious, but it, for some reason, even though I'm all about non-duality, it didn't click in my head until 2 days ago. Consciousness doesn't move around. Things appear to move around in consciousness. Consciousness doesn't go anywhere. When I think I'm going to the store, there is no movement happening. Consciousness isn't going to the store. Think about this clearly. If reality is not physical, material, space-time, and all that, and all of that is an appearance in and of consciousness, if consciousness is the fundamental nature of reality, then consciousness doesn't move. The appearance of things move in consciousness as an illusion. Think of it like on your television screen. Think about me. I'm animated right now on your screen. Am I moving on your screen? Of course not. D.H. Thorne is not on your screen. D.H. Thorne is in his living room. If we're going to have the concession, if we're going to concede that D.H. Thorne is real in the first place, we're going to have to say that D.H. Thorne is alone in his, well, he's with his wife. He's in his house with his wife, and he's looking at a camera, talking like there's someone listening to him. But nobody's listening to me. It's a microphone and all this shit. You don't see D.H. Thorne. You see a bunch of pixels lighting up in sequence that resembles what you might see if you were in my presence. None of you see me. None of you have ever heard me unless you've met me in person. And that's the materialistic perspective alone. We're not even touching non-duality. Well, in the exact same way, when you see a car, a person, a cloud, you're not seeing a car, a person, or cloud. You're looking at consciousness looking like those things. Your computer monitor or your phone or whatever you're watching me on right now is a screen that is looking like me, but it's not me. I don't exist on that screen. And when you understand the non-dual premise, you realize very, very vividly that nothing is happening. Causality in the physical sense is unreal. There is, if I say that there's cause and effect, I do not mean in the usual sense that we mean it. Like, there's a reason for all this, but it's not because you did this. The reason you hear sound isn't because you did that. The reason a domino falls over isn't because you flicked it. When we're thinking about cause and effect, we're talking about something deeper, something more fundamental in consciousness. It's not an action by physical particles or things bumping each other. That is just an appearance in consciousness. Science is coming to terms with this now. I love science. As someone who went as a hardcore, hard materialist, skeptic, atheist for almost 15 years after abandoning spirituality in my early 20s for a while. I spent 15 years really into, especially cosmology and physics and deep shit. I replaced spirituality with the left brain, intellect, Western materialistic view. And I called that God in a way for a while. I figured when we die, nothing happens. It's just nothing. What a fool I was. It's understandable. Society drills it into our head these days, but it's utter foolishness. It is irrational, and it is not what we experience. We don't experience that at all. We experience consciousness. That's clear. That is the first principle, not bumping particles that emerge consciousness. That's bullshit. There's no atoms that feel and see. There's feeling and seeing that looks like atoms. Materialists are ignorant. They are asleep. And they're trying to keep you asleep. Because it helps them sleep. For no other reason, that's why. They don't want to wake up yet. Consciousness, divinity within them is like, I'm enjoying the show. No. Ignore those non-dualists. Ignore the mystics. Ignore the New Agers. Ignore anything that might make you think that maybe this isn't what it is. Because the minute you realize that that's not what it is, nothing can hold you back anymore. New World Order, governments, a home invader. All of it is just like a dream. A dream with consequence, to be sure. I don't mean that I can stand on a train track and challenge the train to prove itself to me. Because I know that just like any dream, there is consequence, but it's not material causality consequence. I'm sure you've had a dream where you've had an accident and taken an injury, or there's been the appearance of cause and effect, but is that real cause and effect? Of course not. You don't dream cause and effect because doing something in a dream causes something. If I pick up a ball in a dream and I throw it at a wall, it doesn't bounce back at me because there's physics at play, because there's a physical ball hitting a wall bouncing back at me. It's because that's what I have trained myself to believe in. My psyche resonates with that, and that is what manifests for me, because that's the filter. It's like the code of a video game. Do you think that when you play a video game that the physics are real? If you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you take a turn a little too sharp and you go skidding off the road, is that because there's a car with rubber wheels that lost traction and skid? Fuck no, that's a bunch of code being run through a CPU. And in the exact same way, consciousness manifests a mind, manifests all this, and pretends that there are rules. There's no rules. But it sticks to them because it's fucking fun. Yes, even the worst thing you can imagine, getting burnt alive. Consciousness loves it. All of it is divine. Nothing is forbidden. So materialism is a dead horse that's being beaten to death, and scientists are coming to terms with it. I'm watching them go through the stages of grief in real time over the last 20 years or more, culminating in 2022 when 3 people won the Nobel Prize for proving that local realism is false. That reality is not locally real. That is the death knell of physical reality as the materialist has upheld it for the last 300 years. They're scrambling. They don't know what it is. You've got M theory gonna fall on its face. You have string theory already dead. They're keeping it on life support, but it's dead. The only thing that remains, see, scientists are fine. There's science as a practice is a valid and important tool. It's like when you play a video game and you're learning how the video game works. Just because it's a simulation, or what I call a simulacrum, or what the Indians would have called Maya, the Hindus would have called Maya, doesn't mean that it doesn't have concessional rules that the divine accepts and manifests to fulfill the game. It's called the game of Brahman. The play of Brahman is what it's called in Hinduism. The entire purpose of this, it's not a purpose, but the entire essence of what's going on is a form of play and fulfillment of play. That's it. This isn't my opinion. This is something that when you hit those states of realization becomes so crystal clear. You don't need someone to tell you. Do you think I sit here? Now, yes, I asked my wife, I do listen to a lot of non-dual speakers and shit. Do you think that I'm copying and I'm parroting what they say? I mean, I'm sure none of you guys, my fans, would think this, but an outsider might. An outsider might think, oh, Thorne is just parroting. So trust me, as someone who was a hardcore skeptic for 15 years, 10 years ago, I would have shit all over the modern Thorne. But you know what's funny? This Thorne would destroy, utterly wreck that idiot from 10 years ago. Would have utterly put him in his place in about 5 minutes. He would be unable to respond to the things that I would be telling him. And if he didn't believe, that's fine, because I could show him. Because I know how he thinks, and I know what he thought, and I know exactly what to do to get him to realize what he didn't realize. It's really simple, guys. We all know what consciousness roughly is. We all have an idea. We all say, yeah, consciousness is this thing that is witnessing what's happening. And we think it's something in our head. Motherfucker, your head is something in consciousness. Wake up. It's that simple. Consciousness is what is fundamental. Not things, not bumping particles, not energy forms, not dimensions, not sacred geometry. That's all just mirages in Maya that is there for your enjoyment to create this wonderful tapestry of possibility. And this is just one paradigm that it can manifest in. There is no limit to the way it can manifest. You can see any dimension, you can go anywhere in consciousness, because consciousness doesn't go anywhere. You can go anywhere in consciousness, see anything if you have the right psychic mindset. And I've got to tell you that as we are all sharing this current paradigm together, we are all individualized, not individual, but individualized minds. Think of it like someone with multiple personality disorder, or what is it called? DID, dissociative identity disorder. We are all alters for the same divine mind, for the same divinity. Forgetting itself and playing as each of us one by one by one at the same time. Did you know that that's possible even for people with DID in the normal materialistic realm of psychology? Did you know that someone with DID can have not 1, not 2, not 5, not 10, they can have dozens or more different people in them at the same time, and each can have a separate experience of the same events, or ignorance of the same events, or one terrifying example. Someone, this was studied and proven. This isn't quackery. This is proven fact. Someone with multiple personalities is able to dream, some of them, this one person in particular who was studied, I think it was a couple, they dreamt of a dream with multiple people in it, and it turns out each one of them was one of their personalities, and each one of their personalities had an interior view of that dream, their own perspective. Which one of them is the real one? None of them. Consciousness is. And that's you, that's me, that's my wife, that's the dog, that's the bug crawling through the rug in my house. It's this microphone. None of those things are real. They're just an appearance of realness. Materialism's dead. And with materialism goes all forms of dualism. And people will say, well, then that means that they'll get a nihilistic real quick because they haven't transcended yet. This is all meaningless and blah, blah, blah. No, you dummy. This is fulfilling. This is bliss. Consciousness knows all, but it allows itself to forget so that it can be really immersed in it. We all most of us like video games, right? Most of you guys love video games. How many of you guys, if I said to you right now, I've invented this perfect video game system that it doesn't even have to plug into your brain. You just put this thing on your head and it'll beam signals into your brain. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to make you forget who you are. You're going to forget that you're a Tropa, that you're D.H. Thorne, that you're any of these people. You're going to forget that. Gone. And then you're going to, let's make it easy. We'll do like a Matrix thing. You're going to wake up in the dream as if you've already lived your life up to this point. Fully formed with your thoughts, your ideas, your memories, the whole works. And then you're going to live from that point in a perfect simulation of an awesome story of a video game. Whatever you want. Do you like the movie Avatar? You want to be like Jake Sully, or you want to be like Natiri or something? You want to be flying around on dragons? We can do that. We can simulate that for you perfectly. But you won't remember who you are while you're doing it. Would you do it? I fucking would. That sounds awesome. What if I told you that there's a chance in that dream you might meet a horrible end? What if I told you that in that simulation, there's a chance you get your whole shit cut apart in a meat grinder and feel it the whole way? But don't worry, nothing's actually going to happen to you. That's just going to seem like it. Some people would maybe hesitate, but most of you would still sign up, wouldn't you? Thank you, honey. Most of you would still sign up, wouldn't you? How many of you wouldn't sign up for that? There's no risk. Nothing can hurt you. You can see any reality that you want. And some of them might suck a little bit. But isn't that the spice that makes it more fun? Isn't it more fun for the chance for you to die a horrible screaming death? Would you? Look, we play games where there's no risk, and that's fun too, but there's still limits. Think of Minecraft. What's the risk in Minecraft? Nothing. A temporary setback at most. Maybe you get one of those creepers blows up and destroys half your base. Oh, well, you just have fun rebuilding it then. Oh, maybe you die and you lose your diamond set of armor and shit. Oh, well. So there's no rules, there's no limits, it can't hurt you, but there's a little bit of a setback. It's a little bit frustrating maybe, but you're not hurt by that at all. Ever. None of that can ever hurt you. Again, if I said to you, imagine a multiverse of adventure, from the most mundane story to the most grandiose. You can be Bob in accounting, who has never ever experienced anything mystical, weird, or magical, or anything. He's just a slob. He watch my Non-Duality for Dummies or Godhood for Dummies video. He's just a slob eating ramen on Tuesdays in his office. He's got no love, no smells, blah, blah, blah. Or you could also end up being God Emperor of the 5 galaxies with quadrillions of subjects. Non-stop dick sucking or whatever the hell your fucking fetish is. Anything you can imagine is possible. Would you do it? Of course you would. You'd be a fool not to. That's what you're doing. You're doing that right now. It doesn't seem like it because you've allowed yourself to forget. That's the only way this can happen. Materialism is dead. The Great Awakening is happening. The world is waking up. And it's not just Hindu traditions. Hindus just right now, Advaita Vedanta and certain other extensions of that, and there's Western forms, Kabbalah, there's Western forms that lead to a very similar, not exactly the same, but a very similar epiphany. The quintessential, the top quintessential, the fifth element, the quintessential pinnacle of realization is the same in all of these mystical traditions. It's always the fucking same. Tatvamasi, that thou art, you are God, you are, I am that I am. In every single tradition, that is the final level of, oh shit. Why else would magic work? If you're not God, what the fuck does a candle do to change anything? Wake the fuck up. I'm not yelling at you. I'm passionate tonight, by the way. So if you're one of those people who's like, Thorne, he's yelling at me, fuck off. I'm not your teacher. I'm here to teach those with thicker skin. I'm never yelling at you. I'm excited. I love this. This is my passion, especially when you realize it. I feel like Prometheus bringing fire from the gods to man. And I'm not the only one. When I say I'm a chosen of Lucifer, it's the same idea. It's just Lucifer is a different incarnate idea of Prometheus, and Prometheus is a different idea of the same light bringer character that's in every tradition everywhere. And it sometimes is a spiritual icon, and sometimes it is a manifested physical avatar. Buddha, Jesus, Shankara, Alan Watts, they're all incarnations of Promethean light bringers, as am I, as are some of you. I'm not special. It's just what I've decided to incarnate as in this life. This is just divinity going, you know what? I have so much fun waking up. I want to help other people wake up too. That's all it is. It's not a purpose. It's not a goal. It's just my passion. And my passion is what brings me fulfillment. And fulfillment is divinity. Because it's ultimate. When you get fulfillment in anything, is it not blissful? Even sometimes the fulfillment of pain. There's a pleasure in pain. If you don't know that, you haven't played around with some good shit. You know what I'm saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains, they excite me. The point is, if I were to begin an institution, a tradition, this realization is the key to magic, to seeing the multiverse, to being at peace, to accepting all the bullshit of life. And again, I had a huge, so you guys might be like, well, that sounds silly, Thorne. It seems like a basic thing to me because I've already heard that before. Yeah, but did you realize it though? You can parrot a truth, but when it clicks, it's different. I had a moment where I realized I'm not moving anywhere. Consciousness doesn't move. There's an appearance of movement in consciousness. My wife and I today went to Port Jefferson. But I, the divine, didn't go anywhere. Have you heard the saying? Well, I'm going to skip ahead to that in a minute. I, the divine, did not go anywhere. That came to me. Just like a memory of something from yesterday comes to you. It's no different. It's just more vivid. There's no difference between a memory and a dream and all this shit and right now, except the degree of how vivid it is. When you're dreaming, you don't know you're dreaming until you wake up. What if it's backwards? Some traditions say it is. And there's a good reason to think that. You don't know that you're dreaming. You don't know that you're not Captain Kirk in your dream. You think you are. And when you wake up, you go, wow, that was pretty fucking cool. That was Captain Kirk last night. But you're not you, the person you think you are, for the same reason you're not Captain Kirk from your dream. Neither of them are you. They're just a perspective within yourself that looks that way when you look through its eyes. And there are no eyes. That's just a mental construct. You're dreaming, in a sense. It's not made up dreaming, because you have to understand that all dreams are manifestations of the dreamer itself. When you dream tonight, if you have a dream about a monster chasing you through a forest, there is no monster, there is no forest. Those are apparitions, manifestations of something that is true for you as the dreamer. Maybe the forest represents your dead-end job that you hate. Maybe the monster represents your manager, who's a complete jerk. Thank you, hon. So, in that sense, the forest and the monster do represent something that is, in a sense, real. But let's take that analogy and now bump it 1 degree higher. This is just an appearance of something more real, but something far more abstract that does not have structure or form or substance or an identity of its own. It's all identities. What is the numerical value of infinity? What is the structure of the divine? It's the same. But the numerical value of infinity, just because you can't know what that is, doesn't mean that you can't imagine every number between 0 and infinity in it. And somewhere in that number between 0 and infinity is a code that if you fed it into a computer would manifest a universe. And in the exact same way, just less literally, within the divine is the essence for all. And that is what is manifesting right now. There is an infinite multiverse of potential in that divinity. And you are picking this to watch right now. How fantastic. Why would you do that if this is not cool? If this isn't awesome? If you're not here to experience it for a reason? That reason isn't a reason in the usual sense, like I'm going to go to the store and buy milk, there's a reason. What is the higher reason behind anything we do? Fulfillment, love, bliss. Seeking is blissful. Failure is blissful, because if you can't fail, you can't succeed. It's a game, motherfucker. That's all it's ever been. It's a wild ride, and when it's over, you're going to go, holy shit, that was cool. Who am I going to be next time? I know this in a way that is not intellectual anymore. I've had enough experience now, chemonostically, meditative, transcendentally, intellectually, all of these things I've dabbled and experimented and played with and experimented and just immersed myself in to the point where I realize this ain't my first rodeo. It's not yours either. I've seen. When I say see, I mean see in the grand sense. I've witnessed. I've witnessed things that can't exist in this reality, colors that don't exist, shapes that cannot be described in 3 dimensions. I know I've seen them, but I can't describe them and I can't see them anymore. But I know I saw them. I know I saw them. I can't remove that knowledge. I know I've seen them, but I can't describe them. And I can't picture them anymore because I've turned that off. It's like putting on glasses. If you put on glasses, you can see this if you're blind, right? This gives things focus. I can see this now. Well, what if I took these off and put on a telescopic pair of glasses? Now I can see over there. Well, I can't do both at the same time. I'm tuned into this spectrum of manifestation. Why? Why not? In fact, I would argue that since you are the divine and everything that manifests is within you, then inevitably you're going to manifest it all. And because there's an infinite all, hoo boy, you're going to manifest crap that from your little human perspective is going to sound like crap. In fact, you might be a fucking shit beetle or something. And there's a lot of shit beetles out there. So you're going to get to enjoy that many times. And you will enjoy it. A shit beetle loves shit. You don't, but a shit beetle loves shit. You notice I don't talk in these lofty right-hand pathways because, not that there's anything wrong with it, but not everybody clicks with it. Some people need the down in the trenches approach. The whips and chains excite me approach. Some people need a left-hand approach. An approach that says all is divine, nothing is forbidden. You can be whatever you are. You can be a furry, you can be a sinner, you can be a pervert. You are divine too. Still, it is in my incarnate nature, the nature of this apparition, to oppose certain things. You're a pedophile. You're a rabid dog. I'm going to take you down. If it's within my power as this thing, I'm going to do you in without hesitation, except for maybe fear of the law. But I'm going to find a way to, at the very least, expose you and destroy you if I can't do it some other way. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to take law into my own hands. Like, don't worry, Susan Wojcicki, I'm not a vigilante. I'm saying that there are things that I stand for as this being. However, I also know that the most reprehensible concept is not off limits to me as divinity. I know, as much as D.H. Thorne hates the sound of it, I know that as divinity, I have incarnated as everything I hate. I have been a pedophile. I have been Hitler. And so have you. And I've been their victims. And I'm me now looking at this like, wow, that sucks. But the left-hand path doesn't shy away from that. It embraces it, knowing that to shy away from it only makes it stronger and deepens the dualistic, egoistic delusion. Now, there's a right way to do the right-hand path that doesn't involve that. You don't have to be a priss, a pearl clutcher about it. The proper way to right-hand path is to simply discipline yourself and say, okay, I know that divinity is that, and it's not any of this. Or I should say, this is an appearance of that. So I'm looking at divinity right now, but this hand is not divinity, but this hand is an appearance of divinity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to transcend the illusion by rejecting the parts of it that attract me to it the most. My pleasures, my hang-ups, my perversions, my fetishes. I'm going to reject those things and resist them in the same way that a meditator in a temporary state rejects all experience and enters into a state of emptiness. And in that state of emptiness, that's not it. That's just looking at it in the face. You still have to realize it. You can hit the deepest sense of void imaginable. But if you don't recognize that void as yourself, you still haven't gotten it. It's only when you realize that when there's nothing but yourself and that's the void, that it clicks. For some people can just do it intellectually. Although I would argue that is not as deep a realization. It is a valid one. It's just not quite as deep as you can go. You can go fucking deep as fuck. Go drop some fucking psychedelics. Go do some transcendental meditation for 30 years. Go fast for a month. I don't recommend it, by the way. Be careful. Go to the doctor. I got to say that for liability. Go do what you're going to do. Go walk off the... Go... I'm not even going to say the rest because I can get myself in trouble. Go do what it takes. And you will have no doubt. The conviction that is present in my awareness now, that I call myself, is so firm at this point. It is so solid. It is so... I just want to laugh at myself from 2 weeks ago. Magic is still a valid area of study and practice. Sorcery, still same thing. Science, the same thing. It's just that I now understand that they're just toys in a toy box. They don't do anything. They look like things. They're different ways to play a video game. They're different classes you can take. Use whatever analogy it takes to get you there, but realize they're not real in themselves. They're appearances of what is real in itself. And it can appear like any fucking thing it wants. And when I say want, I don't mean it in the usual mundane sense. I mean whatever it wills. and its will is inevitable. That is why magic works, if it works at all. Not because it does anything, not because it forces reality to bend to your will. Fuck that. There is no outside reality to bend. Even you don't bend. You are timeless, unchanging, and eternal. Nothing changes. It's just a change of perspective. That's the secret. That's what my next book's about. I'm not going to say anything more, or else I'll shoot my load, and I won't. What's the point releasing a book? It is this change of perspective that manifests everything. Movement, time, everything. It is one static eternity in itself, and you're shifting focus within it, and that's manifesting everything. All of you petty motherfuckers that think you're going to curse somebody and destroy them, you'll have that experience, I do not doubt. Do not doubt it for a moment that some of you will have it. You will get your heart's desire. You'll get your riches. You'll get the curse to work. Or you won't. Some of you will fail. Either way, that's all permitted. There is nothing, again, all is divine, nothing is forbidden. All of this can be experientially true. But for it to be actually true is impossible. Consciousness is the only thing that is not an illusion. Everything else is an illusion in consciousness. If you pray to God and God answers, that's a liar. God doesn't have a voice. God hears a voice in itself that sounds like you praying. Think about that. You ever been a Christian? I have so many people come to me and be like, I'm not a Christian because when I prayed, nothing answered, nothing happened. I know it's bullshit now. Okay. Fair enough. What did you expect? Does consciousness speak? Is consciousness, does it have a mouth? It only looks like it. It only sounds like it. You don't even have a fucking body. You just feel a body. That's a feeling you have. It's not a thing. It's a feeling. A feeling is a thing in consciousness. It's not a thing. What you see in the mirror is not what you are. It's just what consciousness looks like in that perspective. When you take this whole thing and you invert your stupid assumption that what's out there is real and this is separate from it, when you invert that fucker, everything changes. And you could snap your fingers and make the universe die. And snap your other finger and it comes right back. And you know that it happened. If I imagine the Death Star being blown up by Puff the Magic Dragon, it happened. In the same sense that this is happening, because this is not, and that is not. It's just an appearance of consciousness. This is not happening. Death Stars being blown up by Puff the Magic Dragon are not happening. They're appearing to happen. And one appearance is as real as another. And you can have an even more vivid experience of that Death Star being blown up by Puff the Magic Dragon if you want to. If it was really what you wanted, you could have it. If you wanted to be RoboCop, if you wanted to be anything, truly. And when I say want, I don't mean mortal want. I don't mean ego saying, I want that. That's just a sound you're making within yourself. If the divine that you are wants to experience it, it will. In fact, it does. Somewhere within the divine, exactly everything I've said is happening to itself. It's experiencing it vividly like it's there. It's just right now, it's watching from this spot where you are here. It's watching this story right now. It says, I'm going to see what's going on in the D.H. Thorne story today. And it's going to reduce itself and just watch D.H. Thorne for a while. And today, he's having fun because Thorne's ranting. He's in one of those moods. He's fired up. ADD is focused on this today. Yes. This is the good shit. This is why I get a little... I hate that I'm going to say this, a little dismissive of some of the more theistic or materialistic or dualistic perspectives that I get as questions. Because ultimately, I feel like saying whatever the fuck you want it to be. Is Lucifer real? Does Lucifer have blue eyes or purple? If I shit into my hand and put it in a jar and bury it in my enemy's front yard, will they die of cancer? Sure. Sure. Somewhere inside the divine that you are, that is taking place as an experience that you could have anytime. If it is truly what your higher will is to experience right now, then that is what will happen. Or at least that's what it'll look like. But the ego can't make that happen. The ego is just a voice that says, I'm here. It's just a thought that says, I exist as this. It's not real. Just like the image on the screen of me is not real. You're looking at a screen that looks like D.H. Thorne. I am looking at consciousness. Consciousness is looking at itself, looking like D.H. Thorne, and forgetting that it's not. This is why magic works. This is why all of this is possible. This is why you can have a skeptic and a magician, and they can both be right at the same time. Both of them will see the reality that they are seeing, and that's it. Both realities are equally real and unreal. They're just an appearance of reality. When you wake up to this, it's over. Game over. It's like you turned on God mode. That doesn't mean you can suddenly do anything you want. It just means you realize none of this can harm you. You realize you're playing a game. It's like taking the virtual reality headset off for a second and going, oh yeah, this is a cool fucking game, isn't it? You still care about your character. You still care about the other characters. None of that stops. It's just, it doesn't have the same... You'll still scream when that train's coming at you, just like you do if you're playing a video game and you're in VR and you know it's not real. You know it's not real. When you're playing a good VR game, you know. But if there's like, if you're playing the game and suddenly like a monster jumps out, you go, ah! You feel it like it's real, but it's not. And you put the head, you go, whew, oh, damn. Did you see how many teeth that fucking thing had? And some of you guys, unfortunately, or fortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, that's a judgment. That's a human judgment. Some of you guys are experiencing a very long, drawn-out, nihilistic, depressing, sad, painful experience. Some of you guys are addicted to this and that. Some of you guys are wound up in shit like I've been wound up in politics and will be again, no doubt. Honesty is a key component to waking up. You must be honest to a fault with yourself, if not everything else. And why do you think in Christianity there is this whole confessional thing? That's not just for Christianity. That's a holdover from a deeper truth that they turned into a poison pill to keep you a slave. The truth is, confessional's necessary. You don't necessarily have to confess to everyone in the world, though sometimes it helps to confess to somebody. Confess to the self. Admit to the self, I do this. This is my trigger. This is what I'm doing wrong. I fucked that up. Not in a negative, you suck kind of way. And in fact, let's take the I did it out of it and say, that happened. But it is just something that happened. Like in a video game. I didn't die when my character blew up. It's just something that happened in the game. I didn't... do that thing I regret. I didn't cheat on my spouse. I didn't run over that dog. But I witnessed it like I did. And it hurts. Admit it. Confess it. To yourself. Because that helps you step back and realize, yeah, this is an illusion. And the irony is you'll take more responsibility for it. Even though it's not real, you do. You take more responsibility in the because you realize that you're responsible for the reality that you manifest. It's not something else doing it to you. You are picking and choosing every moment which way to go in the next moment of manifestation. And you can go anywhere you want. You just can't get everywhere from here simply because you're zoomed in so tight, it's hard to jump to something that's not similar. So you got to do it usually through mundane actions or a little bit of magic now and then, get that acausal relationship going. You can circumvent the rules a little bit because the rules are made up. They're conventions in a game. And there's cheat codes to the game and there's ways around it. And but you can also just take the fucker off and say, I'm playing a different game. Let's put something else on. What do you think you do when you dream every night? Do you think that's being produced by your brain? Motherfucker, your brain's being produced by consciousness, not the other way around. So your brain doesn't produce your dreams. Your brain is just what your mind looks like from the outside to another part of consciousness. That's it. It is correspondent. There's a corollary between what your brain looks like it's doing and what you experience as that. But you're not that. And it's not what it is. Scientists will say your brain activity causes thoughts. Fucking wrong. No. The brain activity is just what thoughts look like from the outside. It's not what thoughts are. It's not what causes them. And this is not theory. This is not intellectual argument. This is something that you can grasp instantly and know to be true to the point where you are unborn. The person you thought you were dies because you know they were never born. You witnessed a birth. You were not born. You witness the laws, but the laws are a pattern in the illusion. You witness it in yourself as yourself. And you're dreaming this because this is fun. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you lose a life. You fuck up and you got to reload from a prior save. So fucking what? Divine consciousness is the only thing that is not an illusion. But that doesn't mean that there isn't consequence in that illusion. Just like there's consequence in a game. Just like there's consequence in a plot line of a story. But it's not consequence because they cause each other. It's because that's where we want to go. All right, I've ranted for a solid 59 minutes straight. And my wife's reminding me I have quite a few super chats, and I've been ignoring your comments like a jerk. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this little rant. I should chop this rant out of the video and post it as its own thing. Tell your friends, this is one of Thorne's best rants. And if you didn't like it, fuck off. Like I said, I'm not some lofty right-hand path. I'm a down in the trenches. You're God, idiot. Wake up. I'm different. You know, they say to make it in life, you got to be the first. You got to be the first. You got to be the best, or you got to be different, or any combination of those. So I'm going to work on being the best at being different. I'm going to be the unorthodox teacher. And I'm going to get you there if you're willing to follow where I'm pointing. Not where I'm leading, where I'm pointing. I'm going, hey, did you look there? Did you check that out? All right. Enough ranting. Let's see what's been said. Whew. Oh, boy. I'm feeling heated. It's like 75 degrees in here. That's hot to me. Whew. All right. If you hear a lot of fan noises, that's me. Let's get to, ooh, there's a bunch of supers, guys. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I ignored you guys while I was like rambling here. Let me start at the beginning of the chat as I see it. And I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Joffrey's here. He says, I am great. Awesome. That's like saying I am Groot. Jay Baldell is here. Hey, Raquel. Anyone else feeling some weird energy recently? Of course. Always. Atropa says, hello, Raquel. Aw, so very sweet of you. Yeah, I noticed you guys were all talking to each other before. It's so cool. And Raquel Kelly's here. One of the #1 fans. What's up, Raquel? I hope you're doing well. Shrieking Violet, the Blue Wrench, is here to help us tonight, and we appreciate her, of course. Kelly Meadows, good to see you. Good to see you. Tornadoes, you're getting tornadoes. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I hope you didn't get one. Please be careful out there. CJ talking about the DMs he sent me with his penis in it. I do appreciate that. He is our resident Jesus lookalike. Hopefully I'll be meeting him again soon. We had a good time hanging out a few times. Nanurta, what's up? Christian, of course, is here, as we know, because I said hi to him before. Tommy Carson says, DH, everyone greets and 93s. Thank you, Tommy. The Order of the Black Dragon. I got to go somewhere with my mom. Won't be here to watch the whole thing. Well, if you're here now, thank you for coming back to watch the whole thing. I'm sorry you missed one of my better rants. At least I think it's one of my better rants. This is all stuff I say all the time. It's just I feel like I put it in a nice, tight little softball and just gently lobbed it at you while it's screaming in your face. Is that a fair way to put it? I mean, yelling, motherfucker, catch this softball. That's what... Because this experience is loud and scary, so why shouldn't I be? George Coggin says, all one consciousness at different points in space and time like an inside prism is it? No! No offense, George, but you got it backwards. There's no space and time. Space and time are in consciousness, period. Space and time are an illusion in consciousness, provably so. Science admits it. Trust me. I'm watching them like hawks lately. They're fucking... Like, they've got that look. The material scientists have this look now like... should we tell them that we don't know shit at all? Like everything we thought's wrong? No? Just keep the... Okay, keep the grants pouring in. And then you get a few oddballs that are coming out and admitting it. Space and time is doomed. The universe is not locally real. You can't reify anything under the size of a Planck length or shorter than a Planck second. All of these point to the fact that it's not real. All of it. The only thing you know for sure is real is consciousness, period. Anything else is a delusion. Period. End of story, end of arguments, and I can take all of that and show it if you follow along. It's not hard. It can take time because you're resistant to it, because you're enjoying the dream. But if you're listening to me, a part of you is starting to get it. Because that's why you're going, hey, this is interesting. And maybe you won't get it in this life. That's fine. The goal is not to get it. The goal is to enjoy the getting of it. Let me repeat that. That's how important that is. The goal is not to get it. The goal is to enjoy the getting of it. Do you get it? George asks, any thoughts on solipsism? Yes, it's bullshit. Solipsism says that you are the only person in this world and everything else is just a dream in the mind of this one person. That's solipsism. Non-duality doesn't say that. Anyone who conflates the two does not understand whit one of either concept. It's a term in your mind that is applied to something because you don't understand what they're saying. Some people might argue, oh, non-duality sounds like cosmic solipsism. Bullshit. Bullshit, because that implies that there's only one of us is real. No, that's what solipsism says. Only one person is real and everybody else is bullshit. There's nothing funnier, said Alan Watts, than the idea of a solipsist convention where they get together and argue which one of them is the real person. That's garbage. And anybody who accuses non-duality of solipsism is an idiot, or doesn't know or doesn't respect the source material that it's being drawn from. Provably so. It's not even a again, go to any real philosophical section of the internet and ask, is non-duality and solipsism the same, like with actual philosophers, not a bunch of armchair assholes who occasionally watch like Lex clips or something. I'm talking about real philosophers. Get those people together and ask them, is solipsism and non-duality the same thing? No, it's not. Not even close. That doesn't mean that there aren't a few things that they share that sound similar. Of course they do. Just like materialism has a few things that sound similar to what magicians say. And so doesn't mean it's the same thing. And of course, Atropos here. What's up, Atropa? All right, let me scroll again. I'm going to get to those supers, I promise. Jafar Sabin Nubiu. There were no less than 6 Osama bin Ladens in those tapes. You are not wrong, dude. I forget where that's coming from. I forget why you brought it up. I don't know if I brought it up. I don't think I did. But if I did, you are not wrong. I'm glad you know what I know, because that's one of the things that woke me up, was to realize that motherfucker ain't the same dude. We're going in for this guy. He doesn't even exist. That song's stuck in my head. I played it for my bird before. What's the name of that song? It's like Seventh Seal or something. What's the name?
No.
Seventh Element. Yeah, that Russian dude. I've been on like an 80s kick today, but for some reason, yeah. What is it? DDoS? Vitas. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but that song's been stuck in my head. I've been listening to like 80s music all day, like my favorite stuff that I miss, you know, like Aha and you know, new wave shit that's like borderline goth. Oh yeah, hell yeah. So I've been listening to that all day, and so I had my bird listen to it. She got scared because I was dancing too much. She didn't like it as much, but I tried to get her into it, and she just, you know, whatever. Now it's stuck in my head. So yeah. All right, Patchwork, his first super chat. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. Exactly. When it says nothing is true, this is not real, so everything is permitted because it's all like a dream. It's exactly the same as my saying, my axiom, all is divine, nothing is forbidden. There's a reason that they sound similar. I actually formulated that with a similar, I was like, nothing is true, everything's permitted is very obtuse. Let me make it a little bit easier for you. Let me really just distill that down into what it really means in a much more obvious way. The way I'm saying it's more like a Sufi would say. Although I wouldn't say, I don't know much about Sufism. I just know that it's close. Curison, I like that. If it smells like a rose, it's an illusion. True. But I will say experience is real. People, when they say like, oh, does that mean experience isn't real? No, experience is real. When you see something in your mind's eye, that is a real vision. It's just the thing, the object in itself is not real. This folding knife as an object is not really a folding knife. It's a bit of consciousness that I perceive as this idea, this thought form that I call a knife. But it isn't that. This is just a figment in consciousness. It's not even an object. It's like a Rorschach ink blot. Think of a Rorschach. Imagine consciousness is like a Rorschach ink blot. And within that ink blot is something that resembles anything you want. All you have to do is know the idea, and then there you go. You can make it into that. Plato's theory of forms is basically what I'm talking about. Tommy Carlson brings up a good point, which I agree with. I'm not sure who he's talking about, but Jared Milo is amazing. However, one thing I don't get is how he can be so magically genius, but then turn around and endorse vaccination stuff. It almost makes me suspect. All right, so here's the deal, guys. Just because you get the metaphysic or something deep doesn't mean it opens your eyes to everything. There's a lot of things I don't know. There are things that I direct my awareness towards, and I know them better than most. I don't know them implicitly or better than everybody, or probably even most people. So you can be like, I put it like this. I watch a lot of spiritual people who obviously get it. They are enlightened. They understand what they are. They've achieved a level of moksha. They get it. They're liberated from suffering. They know they're the divine. They know that they manifest this reality, and they'll still vote for fucking idiots. And they'll still, you know, right? They'll still toe a party line. They'll still do the stupid shit. Enlightenment doesn't mean that you suddenly get everything. However, if you're wise, if you gain wisdom through that enlightenment, you start to see through the rest of the bullshit of the matrix as well. Not all of it, because you're still going to have your attachments. I'm attached to enough that I have a political persuasion, that I prefer this over that, and so on and so forth. The higher perspective would be to just sit back and enjoy the show. If I really want to be enlightened in appearance, I'm just going to lean back, be like, yeah, do what you want. That's just one kind of enlightenment, though. Another one is to know that it's fake and still dive into the game. So I know this is all fake, but I'm gonna support Trump, and I'm gonna go that way because it's more entertaining. I'm enjoying this show from that perspective more right now. So that's the one. It's just like, guys, it's like playing a video game that you can play different characters that have different storylines in it. You can play Skyrim and be the hero of Skyrim, or you can go the vampire path and destroy the world and make it dark forever. Both are true. And you're neither one of them. You don't play Skyrim to load the game and just sit there and watch the dragons do stuff and never engage in anything, do you? No, life is more fun when you engage in it and take a side. And in order to take a side, you have to be ignorant to something. You have to not know, you have to ignore, you have to deny. You have to be biased, you have to be in an echo chamber. You have to have a bias and a preference. That's part of the game too. So, as much as you might look at this person and say, wow, he must be an idiot because he still doesn't know the deeper truth about this other issue, it is fair to say that, but at the same time, in your heart, try to step back from judgment. Just try to, yes, be suspicious. Maybe he's in on it. Maybe he's dumb. I don't know. I'm not the guy. I don't know. But my point is, a lot of people don't know, and they fall for dumb shit. And I hate it too. Because if everybody wasn't like that, this would be a much easier and better place. But then we wouldn't have this adventure on our hands, would we? You can't call an adventure unless there's some bad shit happening. Going to the store to buy milk and getting home safely without anything happening in the middle is not an adventure. Getting a flat tire in the middle of the way is an adventure. Getting a bum smash your window in because he's mad at you as you're driving, that's an adventure. You're here to have this adventure, guys, so it's going to look like shit. Patrick says, this means we can do anything we set our minds to. In a manner of speaking, as a concession to language, yes. However, there's nothing being done. There is no mind. That's just an appearance. So what it really means is you can have the experience of anything that you will. Not what the ego desires, because the ego's desire is a reaction to what is. The divine doesn't react to what is. The divine is what is. It doesn't react. It doesn't have needs or wants. It doesn't have desires. It simply manifests its will without anything standing in the way. This idea of free will requires that there be something opposed to your will, something limiting you that's beyond your control. Bullshit, you're everything. Everything is in you. There's nothing that you are not. Nothing is holding you back except a willful decision to limit yourself. When you play a video game, when you play Monopoly, you subject yourself willfully to the rules of the game to play it. Monopoly is not a game without the rules. So you create this filled with limitations and rules. You can't fly just by thinking about it because that's a rule you've ascribed yourself to. What if you could? What if you manifested into a world where you could fly? And everybody could fly because it's normal for people to fly. Then it wouldn't be so much fun anymore. It would be like walking. If you were born into a world where flying just by thinking about it was as normal as walking, you would be dreaming about teleporting as a superpower instead. You would change your preference. Trust me, I've been through this in my head. Play enough games, it makes sense. There's times when you play a video game, you're like, you know what, this game is like, I have too much power. Like, let's make it a little harder. Let's up the difficulty a little bit because this is too easy right now. And sometimes it's too hard, so I turn it down. I get that level of difficulty where I want it, and then it's fulfilling and fun. I'm being challenged, but I can beat it. And sometimes it beats me a little bit. That's fun. Without a little bit of limitation, there's no fulfillment. And fulfillment is part of the game. It's one of the ways the divine experiences bliss. Non-stop eternal bliss. Patchy follows up. I want to be stimulated in Aqua Teen Hunger Force. LAMO. I'm going to play as Meatwad. Meatwad's pretty cute, man. I always feel like fucking Fryman, though. I don't know. Fryman. Imagine Fryman and the neighbor Carl screwed together. That's basically me. I'm not saying I don't have any Master Shake. Yeah, fuck it. I got some Meatwad, too. Jared Thompson says, I wouldn't sign up. I don't want to reincarnate. If that was true, you wouldn't be here. I know what you're saying. I've been down that path too. You wouldn't be here. You, the ego, Jared, doesn't want to reincarnate it. And I got news for you. You won't. Egos don't reincarnate, son. Consciousness does. Don't worry about it. You'll be here again. In fact, there's an old saying by I don't remember which Zen master it was. They said, that, and it's true. If you do not approach the idea of incarnating in this reality 10,000 more times in a row exactly as it was already so far, in other words, if you're not willing to relive this life 10,000 times in a row nonstop, you're not ready to be you're not ready for nirvana. You're not ready for it. You're going to be stuck here. You're still attached. The more you reject this, the more stuck in it you're going to be. I fucking promise you. That is not my opinion. That is not me being opinionated. That is not being logical or rational. That is knowledge. That's gnosis. That is truth. Because once you get that big, oh, I get it. Everything else filters out of that. You go, yeah, that's the only way it could be. I got news for you. This isn't punishment. You're not trapped. This is pure bliss for you. The real you is not harmed by incarnation one bit. It is a game. The real you isn't even sick of this. Trust me, the real you is not. Ego is. Ego says, I hate this, because ego gets it in its head, and ego's not even a real thing. Ego's a story you're reading. Trust me, when you reflect and you recognize what ego is and this narrative is and your thoughts are, and this, when this all clicks, nah, sign up. Sign me the fuck up. I want to be fucking Star-Lord. I want to be the worst villain ever. I want it all. I've got eternity to watch it too, so let's do it all. Everything. I want to be a single proton from the beginning of this universe to the end. Quadrillions of years. I want to see that whole timeline. I want to fly through the universe and see it all. Boring as fuck. What's up, Tess? Tess Marie's here. What's up, Tess? Good to see you. And Christian says, from Bob to God. Yes. Yes, Jared Thompson. Whatever happens, happens. You got that right. You're definitely right about that. I'm skimming your chats here, guys. Thank you so much for all your opinions, whether I agree with them or not. I appreciate you guys. Here's another one from Patchy. I'm living in the memories of tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, but yes, you are living in the memories. This is true. In a manner of speaking, because memories are a kind of thought. Memories are not a recording. They're a kind of thought. Tommy Carson says something very intelligent here. He says, so I am that I am is perhaps the most truthful statement that can be uttered, or more simply, I am. Yes and no. Because anything that says I am is lying. The voice is the lie. That is not what is. The thing that says I am is not the I am. It's what's watching the I am that's the I am. Let me say that again. The thing that says I am that I am is not the I am. It's the thing that says it, but the I am is that which witnesses it in itself. There is no speaker. There is no voice. Those are just ideas. There is only consciousness which takes the form of those ideas. So anytime you pray to God and God answers and says, I'm God, that's a liar. That is a liar. And it's not a separate being lying to you. It's just a perspective. It's just a sound. It's just something you're experiencing in yourself. Tommy Carlson says, I love this. I don't know if you're quoting or you made that up. This is a beautiful statement. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Bingo. Beautifully said. I don't know if you got that from somewhere, but well said. CJ's great because CJ's got like one of those like senses of humor that I think someday he might be a good comedian. He says, I don't want to be in tomorrow. That's where I pushed all the things I need to do. Yeah. I feel that. What's up, Made in Liberty? Yes, it is cool. What's up, Made in Liberty? Tommy Carlson says, $5 for eternity. Fuck yeah, brother. Thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. DH Thorne equals edgy non-duality. Fuck it, I'll own it. Good. We're doing it live. That's it. That's what we are. Alexander C says, going deep. That's me. Jay Baldale says, thank you for providing the space for us to have these conversations. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the 1666. And I hope you're getting the support and friendship you need from the Discord. I hope all is doing well. Yes, Jared, well said. Do whatever you want because whatever you do to me, you're ultimately doing to yourself. Yes. That's why the meme I used was it here or was it on Facebook? What's the meme I used for this? I don't know. Where it says, yeah, I think it's on Facebook. A great wise man, I can't remember his name, it's like Rami something or other, was asked, how shall we treat others? And the wise man said, there are no others. So act accordingly. Look, there's times I like to hit myself. It's fun. What I wouldn't do to me, I wouldn't do to you. Jose Munoz says, one thing I've been developing a strong dislike towards is victim mentality. I agree. I can't stand the whole, I am a sinner, I deserve hell, I need Jesus bullcrap. I hate that weak victim mentality. And we see it all over our culture because it's been, look, humanity is a slave species. We evolved or were shaped to be subservient to a leader. We are very susceptible to certain forms of mental enslavement. We're very susceptible to being gaslit, to being demoralized, to being put into a position where others can rule us just by guilt alone. Why do you think the New World Order types have endorsed and supported over the millennia first Christianity, now woke nonsense? They support these things because they get power from them. Liberated minds don't feel this guilt. And if they feel guilt, it is not guilt to the same degree or way others do. They just feel a sense of responsibility for what they do. That's not guilt. If I sit there and go, man, I shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. I treated that person wrong. I don't feel guilty very often. Very rarely do I feel guilt. But I do try to make it right if I can. Not because I want to feel better, just because for me it's like, hey, here's the scales of justice. Let's put them back where they belong. It's just my nature as this incarnation. That's all. The divine doesn't have a cosmic scale of justice. There's no higher justice. There's no laws. There's no rules. It's just fulfilling to me to do that. It's my form of fulfillment. To do that fulfills me. There's nothing wrong with it. But I also don't do it from this perspective of it's real and must be done this way or else. Or else I'm going to be punished by the laws of the universe. Fuck you. No. If the only reason you do the right thing is because you're scared of punishment, you're not doing the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing for the right reason. Or the right thing for the wrong reason. Yeah, that's the better way to put it. Mystic, do you know how to do astral project? It's easy. Close your eyes and imagine the next place and imagine the room next to you. You just did it. There is no such thing as... So there's a thing we call astral projecting, but there's no such thing in reality as that. Just like this isn't real, as it appears. In a sense, you're astral projecting right now. If you really understood this dialogue, you realize that this is a kind of astral projection too. If we're gonna call it anything, it's this too, because this isn't physically real. But to have a vivid projection or dislocation from this illusion, that's a tough order if you're not ready for it. Yes, one could argue that dreams are like it, if not it. Fair enough. But when we think of dreaming, we don't usually have control. Lucid dreaming and astral projecting and manifesting, these are all just different ways to say roughly the same idea. It becomes an argument of semantics, not realities. That's really all this is just this whole thing is a semantical argument that the mind is having with itself to prove itself real. None of this is it. It's all semantics and sophistry that the mind is telling itself. You know you're real because you feel it, right? In other words, this body's real because you can feel it. That's how you know it's real. Well, what's feeling it? Is feeling real or is the feeler real? Which is the reality, the feeling or the feeler? Is the dream reality or is the dreamer reality? Which one's real, the dream or the dreamer? Quick, answer the question in the chat. Is the dream real or the dreamer real? Which is real? Which is the reality, the dreamer or the dream? Some of you guys are going to say the dreamer, and you're going to say, look how smart I am because I said the dreamer. Some of you guys are going to say both are the same thing. Haha, you're going to sound smart. Neither are real because they're both words. They're both bullshit. Patchy says, I guess in response to the being the first, best, or different, he says, if you ain't first, you're last. That's one way of looking at it. Oh, Raquel. Raquel says, DH, you're unique and rare. You're awesome. So are you, Raquel. So are we all. But if we get too far into that feel-good stuff, and I do appreciate it, of course, but if you get too far into that, you can kind of get kind of poly. It's good to face that shadow and be like, yeah, I smell too, though. I'm a dirty fuck sometimes. Order of the Black Dragon says, Tommy Carson is my boyfriend. Well, that's cool. That's really cool. If it's true, that's even cooler. Kim asks, can you speak on DMT experiences? No, because I've never had one. I have it on my agenda board, but I have to, the way I see it, you know, I try to do things in a mature way. I'm not looking to just get fucked up, and I want to make sure I do it in a way that is safe and isn't going to upset people that I live with, my wife, or I don't want to be sitting there stoned out of my mind in the living room. I got to set up a situation where it's safe, and if she doesn't want to do it, then I don't want her to have to worry about it. If she does, then she can do it too. But I know for a fact, just from the way I hear people talking, DMT is just a door that opens many of the same things I'm talking about. It's just a more vivid experience of it. Basically, here's what it turns out, okay? This is what I can say. From an outside perspective, if somebody hasn't done that. I've done other things, to be clear. I've done transcendental meditation with some, little cannabis helpa, you know, a little bit of cannabis there. That'll take you so deep into transcendental meditation that it's basically you can trip balls like you're tripping. Because you basically go into a lucid dream, out of body, astral project, consciousness, ego death, the whole works. You can have almost the same, it's just a little different from what the reports sound like. I won't know till I do both, okay? However, here's something wild. I bet you every one of you guys think, maybe not every one of you guys, I bet you a lot of you guys, maybe some of you, think that when you take a psychedelic like DMT, that it increases activity in your brain and you have some kind of wild dream. It's exactly the opposite. Your brain starts to shut down. In other words, when they hook a person up and they measure their brain activity on these things, they expected to see parts of the brain lighting up with more activity like they do when they see a REM sleep dream. Guess what? The exact fucking opposite. It's like you're literally dying, but not. It's like a temporary death. It's a little bit like taking anesthesia, but not going all the way with it. It shuts off parts of the brain that have to do with ego and with certain things. That's the material explanation. The higher reality, there is no such thing as DMT. That is a psychic gateway. It's an excuse to have that experience. You don't need it, but you've put yourself in this position because you're playing a game where you have rules, and that's one of the ways to break the rules a little bit. It's one of the ways to take the headset off a little bit. Raquel Kelly says, we have to unlearn what we learned, like Yoda says. Correct. Whew. Queen Homuncula says, everything is cake. Nothing is real. It is all cake. And the beauty of that statement is, if everything is cake, then cake is meaningless. So it might as well be. One of the little epiphanies I've had in my deep chemonostic states was like this higher voice telling me, literally, if you believe that reality is riding around the back of a turtle, that is no less wrong than any other philosophical ontology or scientific story ever. They're all equally wrong. Do you get that? So if you say everything is cake, you're no more wrong than any other belief that there is, including non-duality. Non-duality is not a belief system, by the way. Non-duality is a teaching that guides you to the reality. This is why non-duality isn't like a hierarchical model of here's God, here's you, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of concepts that when you explore them, point you in the direction of truth. And the truth itself is self-evident. You don't need a model for it. It's just there. Bang, consciousness, got it. So yes, everything is cake. And it is also not cake. And I'm not sure what this is about. Shrieking Violet put a YouTube video up there. I'm not sure what that is.
That was Vitas.
Oh, that was Vitas. Thank you, honey.
Another tactical fisting hippo.
Tactical fisting hippo. Where's that? Who's that? Is that who I think that is, or is that somebody else?
It's Christian Hinakaini.
Okay, good. Thank you. I haven't seen the tactical fisting hippo in a while. I'll scroll down and catch that in a minute. Patrick says, like you even get a choice to reincarnate. Of course you do. Of course you do. Well, ego doesn't. Ego doesn't get that choice. Ego is the incarnation. The divine gets to choose. And it's already chosen. And it will do it again and again. And it'll stop for a while, but time is not real, so yeah, it will both do it and not do it at the same time. That's one of the hardest parts of realizing the non-dual truth is time. Time's a hard one because the question arises, if I am consciousness and everything is in consciousness, why am I not aware of my friend's thoughts from the inside view? And if I am there as well as here, why don't I know their thoughts right now? That's a tough one. Because if I say to you, time's an illusion, this implies that right now, all of this should be known to you. But here's the wild thing. And I can prove this to you right now. This isn't actually as hard as it sounds. Right now, you're aware of a whole bunch of shit. Right now, you're aware of everything in your room. You're aware of the voice of that I'm speaking. But you're only fixated on a little tiny bit of it, usually at a time. You're aware of all of it, but you're not conscious of all of it. And one of the problems we have is language. When I say that everything is consciousness, because that's got the root word conscious in it, technically the word conscious is an attribute of consciousness, if we're being semantically accurate from a philosophical perspective. When I say that you are consciousness, that means awareness, conscious awareness, unconscious awareness, all of that is consciousness. There's no distinction. They're just different states or states. Sounds like there's a process going on, but we have to make a concession. Language is dualistic. You can't describe the non-dual with language. You can just point at it with it. But as an analogy, right now, you're aware of your whole body, right? If you sit for a minute and just really just mentally check your body, you can feel the whole thing. You can be aware of the seat you're sitting on, your feet, your hands, pretty much most, if not all, your body, right? But you can also localize that awareness in one spot or in one thing in your environment. You can localize it and exclude your awareness of those other things. This doesn't just mean in space. It also means in time. You can localize your conscious awareness in what you call time. Time's not real, but you can have a temporal experience by localizing your conscious awareness, all of its consciousness, but localizing conscious awareness on something you call the here and now. But there is no here and now. That's just what the divine looks like, localized in this, and there's no word for it, in this, localized in this essence of it. But there is no time. This is how you can be simultaneously all things, and yet only this thing. Because I got news for you. You can step out. You can, but you can't bring it back with you when you come back here. When you step out and see it all at once, it's just a big emptiness. It's a big void, because it's everything at once, and everything at once looks like nothing. Think about it. What is a movie? Try watching a movie all at the same time. What would you see? Nothing. Without a temporal dimension and a spatial dimension, it looks like nothing. It looks like the void. What do you think that is? What do you think primordial chaos is? What do you think the Zen idea of the void is? It's everything and nothing, all at once. So it looks like the void. In order to make the void manifest this, you've got to step out of eternity and focus on a little piece, and that manifests as this. But you also have to forget the rest. And in the forgetting, you create the illusion of time, space, all of it. We are all the same eye, seeing itself from different perspectives with amnesia in between. But when you step back, you can delocalize. People have out-of-body experiences. People have prescience. People have remote viewing ability. That's all real. Whew. I'm running good tonight. Ooh. All right, whoever said neither, I'm down to the part where you guys put in the chat. Everyone who said neither, you get the cookie. Everyone who picked one, you lose. Those of you who said the dreamer, you're closer than the one who said the dream. So neither is the right answer. Runner-up is dreamer. And dream, that's right out. But really the only answer is neither. But as a concession to language, we'll allow you to say you're the dreamer. That's fine. All right, I think I'm caught up. Yep, I'm caught up. Last one was Atropa talking about Crowley. All right, I am actually losing my voice again tonight. This happened last week too, I think because I'm ranting so hard. So I'm going to give this about 15 more minutes. Mystics talking about out-of-body experience they had. Very interesting, yeah. My wife had one when she had a car accident. For a split second or so, she apparently saw her like from outside the car or something. I'll have to have her.
Back seat.
She saw it from the back seat. Yeah.
I saw the back of our head.
She saw the back of her head and the people in the front. Yeah, she saw everybody's back of their head. Yeah. You're welcome, Tommy. Thank you for appreciating it. As much as I'm a left-hand path, gruff, edgy dick, I am a compassionate soul who loves you. Thank you very much, Tommy. I will curse and cure all in the same breath. That's how enlightened I am. Fuck all y'all. Thank you, Tommy. Really appreciate that. And again, I appreciate everybody's compassion, support, especially as we've been going through these trying times and you've been watching me evolve over the last few years in particular. Hopefully this level of got it, I don't lose again. Because I was kind of here, but I wasn't as deeply here as I am now. I was still a little too cerebral. Now I'm using my brain the right way, as an illusion. I didn't know there was such a thing as non-dual theme music, Tommy. I will have to look that up. It's called Absurd Minds. Is that one you're talking? Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I was actually looking for like non-dual jewelry today because I was thinking about like what would I wear if I wanted to show off that that's my bag. I could just wear some prayer beads or whatever, but that's like a bunch of different traditions. I don't even use those really. I've used them for a while, but I don't need them. That's just a tool. You don't need them. They're helpful, but they're not necessary. It's just a garment. Of course, Jay, that's a good question. In fact, in Become the Maelstrom, I mentioned this. He asked, do you ever think the wind is trying to tell us something and we don't know how to hear it anymore? Again, as a concession to language, you could say it that way, but what I would say is that in any noise, there is wisdom if you know how to hear it. If you know how to listen, any noise can be wisdom. The beating of a drum, the sound of the ocean wave. If you tune into the sound of the wind and do it just right, you will hear it talk to you. I actually have done that. It's actually a meditation I enjoy doing. I don't do it all the time, but absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. But it's not that the wind's trying to tell you something. It's that you're sort of trying to, how do I put it? It's sort of like tuning into something that you were maybe ignoring before. Yeah, that's probably the best way I'd put it. Cosmic Tofu, a true, quote, LHP magician, talks to people instead of being an egotistical asshat. Thoughts? I don't know. Sounds like you're trying to troll. That's what my thought is. What my reaction to people is when they go, oh, someone's egotistical or arrogant, I go, you know, we tend to criticize in others what we're afraid of in ourselves. When you look at someone and say, hey, they're a fat ass, it's because you're afraid of being fat. If you point to someone and say, hey, they're an arrogant dick, it's because you're afraid of being an arrogant dick. It's because you know deep down inside you are too. So you try not to be. Everything that we do as human beings is an act. Kindness is an act. Cruelty is an act. Egoism is an act. Arrogance is an act. Humility is an act. Oh boy, is humility an act. I have never met a truly humble being in my life. In fact, the most humble beings are always the most arrogant of all. I would never presume. I would never put myself... Fuck you. You're trying to make yourself sound so wonderful. Such a person. When people do that, it's always an act. It's all karma. It's all your act. It's all a game for you. If you're worried about how you present it, if your big concern is I'm presenting it in a way that may seem arrogant, you still don't get it. You cannot help but have an ego in terms of an act of an ego. If you're incarnate, ego is implied. It is part of the game. You are absolutely going to experience ego here. And anyone who says, I don't have an ego, or I am, oh boy, when someone says, you know, be humble, I just look at those people like, you poor motherfucker. Because humility, if done on purpose, is not humility. Do you understand? All of you guys? I'm not speaking to the one person in particular. Humility is an ego trap too. It says so right in the Tao Te Ching. The virtue that is aware of its virtue is not virtue. Or I'm sort of paraphrasing. The virtue that is the most virtuous is not aware of its virtue. Someone who is humble naturally is the most humble. Someone who's humble on purpose is not humble. They're an arrogant, egotistical shit. Tofu, awesome reply, thank you. I apologize if I misread you. Tofu said, I agree. I may, question mark, have sounded sarcastic, but thanks for the reply. Cosmic Tofu, then you're, trust me, I forgive as quick as I leap. Trust me. When I'm wrong, it's all wiped away. What actually is probably happening there is I've gotten that comment from people before because I am a little much. I know that. So I get comments like that from people who are trying to like troll me by saying, you know, you sound arrogant, dude. And they'll put it in a way that's like they're trying to get me a gotcha. So I guess that's a shadow of mine coming out to bite you. So don't be offended. I'm not offended. It's just part of the act of D.H. Thorne is I'm gonna bite when someone tries. Because I'm not a right-hand pather. I'm not a turn the other cheek type. I pick my battles. I don't swing every time. But if I'm turning the other cheek, it's so I can wind up and fucking give you a good one back. So, I apologize because I'm usually good at reading people. So, I apologize for my little ticker being off this time. Thank you very much for your comment. It's actually a very important topic because people will make this whole thing about like getting rid of your ego and being humble and all that. I'm not saying that trying to be polite is wrong. And I'm also not saying that learning to speak less and listen more is not wrong or whatever. What I'm saying is trying to be humble is like virtue signal bullshit. It's just ego. It's just another ego trap. And so I advise you to take a more moderate approach towards these questions. Be true to yourself, but I guarantee you when you recognize the truth, the one, the whole, the God, the divine consciousness, when you recognize that fully, you cannot help but have a degree of compassion for all life, for all things. I have stuffed animals that I have compassion for because I know that I have, in my mind, there's a thought form, there's a soul there. Sure, it's not like mine, but it's just as real to me as you. Just less vivid. And it needs my hand to make it talk, right? That sounds insane, but it's not. It's literally what you're doing when you talk to any God. It's literally what you're doing when you talk to yourself or your friend. Your friend is a thought form, dude. 100%. My wife is a thought form for me. I'm a thought form for her. Neither of us see each other. We see consciousness that looks like each other. It's all a thought form, period. End of the story. So, yet, when you realize you have compassion for it all. By the way, compassion, again, for those who might have missed me saying it earlier, doesn't mean goody two-shoes bullshit. It means something way different than most people think. We are taught that compassion means do nice things, treat people good, give that person extra because they need it, and blah, 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 blah. Go back to the earlier part of this video when I was talking about the wildlife photographer allowing the lamb or the gazelle to limp to its death rather than help it. That's more compassionate than helping it, because you're recognizing the harmony of nature and how you're not supposed to interfere in it. It's a very Zen approach, actually. But at the same time, you do what it is in your nature to do. To deny your nature is also not compassionate. If it's in your nature to intervene when you see somebody being raped and you don't, that's not compassionate. If you hear some Zen master say, the most compassionate thing you can do is leave things alone, and then you leave things alone because they said that, it's not motherfucking compassion. You're being a copycat. You're being humble on purpose. You're being compassionate on purpose. That's not real. This is why it's such a paradox to do the right thing. But when you recognize, truly recognize the divine in all things, even in your most egoistic moment, there's still a spark of, uh-oh, I'm doing this to myself. So it's not a simple matter of always do the thing or never do the thing, or never do anything or always do something. Here's the truth. You're going to do something no matter what. Even doing nothing is doing something. The key is to do it from a non-egocentric way. That's hard as fuck, because you can't do that on purpose either. It has to come naturally to you. So you literally have to do what's natural to you. If it's in your nature to be a dick, then be a dick. Love and lighters don't like that. You tell them that, they go, that's not true. The divine doesn't like bad things, you stupid fucking left-hand path asshole. No. You are the problem. People like that. I mean, I'm not saying anybody here. People like that are the problem. They're goody two-shoes, they're do-gooders. They're the path to hell is laid with good intentions, assholes. That's what they are. They think you're supposed to do good and only good. They're just as twisted as people who think that they should do selfish things all the time, because fuck everybody. If you don't want karma, you don't want egoic attachment, you do as thou motherfucking will. Thank you, Crowley. Do as thou will, not as thou ego desires. Just flow. Get in that flow state and do. Don't worry. Don't think about it. Yeah, you can think about it. But I'm saying don't egoize it. Don't turn it into an egoistic thing. I better do that or else I'm going to be sorry. Or I better do that or else I'm a bad person. You're a bad person for worrying about it. If your whole reason for not doing the thing is because you don't want to be a bad guy, you're a bad guy right now. Instant. People like that, confronted with what I'm saying, run screaming, or they curse you out, or they are like a lit match in a hurricane. They just gone. They cannot withstand that, even for a moment. because that blows their whole ego apart, and they will fucking reduce themselves to tears of rage if necessary to confront. You're an evil mother. No. Because unlike you, if I help somebody, it's because it's compassionate to do so. It's my compassionate nature. It's not because I think it's right. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because I see suffering and I go, hey, I can help this thing. And they're asking for, and it's in my nature, and I'm not thinking about it. It's spontaneous. If I help you, it's always spontaneous. I never do anything. Okay, let me correct that. That's a lie. Sometimes I do it on purpose. But when I'm in my right state, I don't do shit on purpose. It's just spontaneous. I don't plan it. I don't think about it. I don't go, this is the right thing to do. And if I do plan it, it's only to plan the logistics of it. It's not planning it like I'm not breaking down the reasons to do it. Right? I'm not breaking down the reasons like if I do it, then I'm bad. If I do it, I'm good. I'm literally like, I'm going to do this. What's the right way to do it? Totally different way of thinking about it. And every once in a while, I will find myself thinking back on something I did and go, I wish I did it different. But that's ego. Ego's saying that. Because you don't have a choice. You will always do your will. The idea that will is something that you don't do on purpose, that goes against what you want, on a higher level, I mean, that is against your, that's the epitome of just utter, I'm just thinking about how to think that way. That's like saying the car drove itself and you weren't driving it. Like that's like saying I turned the wheel to the right and the steering wheel pulled me to the left. No. The will is everything. Okay. The divine, that which is, it's indefinable. But if we're going to pretend we can define it, it exists, it is conscious, it is willful, and it is blissful. I add another thing. So Sat Chit Ananda plus one. I add will to that list. Because without will, that implies that it's all random. It's not fucking random. It is deterministic, but not in the physicalist sense of determinism. It's deterministic in the divine sense of determinism, in the sense of will. Nothing is random and nothing is causal in the physical sense of A leads to B. A only leads to B because that's the will. It's just an appearance. It doesn't really lead anywhere. It's just an appearance. The will is synonymous with omnipotence. And if you understand the trifecta of omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence, you know that they're all the same thing. You cannot be omnipotent if you are not omnipresent and omniscient. You cannot be omniscient if you are not omnipresent and omnipotent. You cannot be omnipresent if you're not omniscient. You can't be any of them unless you're all of them. The moment you're even one of them, you're all of them. If the divine is all, it is all doing, all knowing, all being. So the all doing is the will. Of course, there's nothing that's being done. So we're going to replace that word with manifest. Because doing implies change, time. Anything that changes, anything that's temporary is unreal. It's an illusion. Only that which is eternal is real. So the doing is an illusion. That is to say, the appearance of the doing is an illusion, but the thing that manifests that illusion is the will. That is the omnipotence. That's the manifesting. Ignorance is the greatest evil. In the Platonic and Neoplatonic language, abso-fucking-lutely correct. Because when they said evil, see, this is the thing in philosophy. In society, evil is murder. That's like saying that a thunderstorm is rain. Or, see if I can get another analogy. That's a tough one. My brain's not in that spot right now. That's like saying that sound is music. Where music is sound. It's putting the cart before the horse. Murder is not evil. But the reason we murder is because of evil. And evil isn't bad, it's just ignorance. Evil is equal to ignorance. The only sin is ignorance. We are all fallen beings due to original sin. Look, I can untangle Christianity for you if you really want, because Christianity and Judaism are essentially, again, adjacent. They're a little different philosophically, but they lead to a same monistic non-dual point. Okay, they all lead to the same truth. They're just different ways of saying it. They're different cultural metaphors for the same thing. Advaitins have a different perspective, but they're pointing at the same truth that the Kabbalists, that they're all pointing at the same truth. They all know the same truth. And in Christianity, that truth has been distorted through millennia of cultural, literally cultural appropriation. I'm not a woke asshole, but in this case, that term is correct. The Romans, the Europeans appropriated that tradition and willfully destroyed its essence to create a system of control, which is why when you get it, you can look at the Bible and go, why didn't I see that before? Original sin means avidya, agnosis, the ignorance of incarnation, the ignorance that leads to the limitation of infinity into this one drop of microcosmic reflection of the all. That's all. I'm feeling it tonight. I should have, this isn't even caffeinated. You know, I had sugar today. I'm not crashing it. I must be like still on a sugar high or something. Thank you, Mekamam. I'm never going to be too many of the Macamanea 99. I actually like that name. It's rolling off my tongue better now. Macamanea. I hope I'm saying it right. I saw you commenting a lot, actually, and I saw you commenting that one sweet thing where you said there's no trolls here. And I am grateful for that, because I used to have a few. I guess I got a reputation for taking no shit. But what really did it was I made it so you got to be a subscriber for at least a minute. Most people who want to troll me don't want to subscribe to me, so they don't troll me. I don't like trolls. I don't mind discussion. I don't like debate, because most people don't debate, they argue. I like sincere debate between two dispassionate and you know, between two people that are genuinely trying to achieve truth. Like, make mine a 99. Oh, okay, I like that. I like that. I didn't catch that. Make mine a 99. That's a good one, Artful Notion. Thank you. I like Macamanea, though. Dude, that's like Skyrim. When Skyrim first came out, I'm not familiar with Elder Scrolls until Skyrim. So I didn't see, I just saw a glimpse of it and I thought it said scrim or something. Like, scrim, that's a cool sounding word. Because I didn't know it was two words. I just saw Skyrim. So I just put scrim. What a dipshit. Holy crap. If you can't laugh at yourself, you don't get it. All right, what was I saying? So I was saying something. Oh yeah, the trolls. Was it about the trolls? I don't know. Fuck it. You can remind me where I was going with that. Hopefully somebody remembers. It wasn't that important. I think it was something egoistic. Oh, it was about argument. Yeah. So I like truth seeking. I like debate for the purpose of truth seeking, not proving a point. This is the reason why I do not debate with people, generally, because almost everybody today has not been taught what debate's supposed to be. They think debate is about proving an opinion or proving something true or false. While proving something true or false is a stage of debate, yes, that's not the point. The point is just getting the truth out. It's about presenting two different perspectives and allowing an audience to compare and decide which is the truth. And maybe none of them are the truth. Like, you can be passionate about your position in a debate, but you have to be dispassionate about the debate itself. And almost nobody can do that unless they're trained to do it or they're in polite company where they're going to treat each other with respect. So I don't do online debates unless I really know you and I know you're going to take it right. And I know you're not going to read into my animated energy and think I'm being mean to you, and vice versa. If I feel like we're attacking each other, it's not. The minute the first ad hom happens, debate over. There are certain people who are listening to me right now who know that I'm not making that up. I have a standing rule that when first blood is drawn and an ad hom or sophistry is applied with willful intent to cause a derailment, like some people use a sophistry and don't know it. I let that slide. But some people do it on purpose. And one of the worst is ad hom. When you do an ad hom in a debate, the debate's over. It's no longer a debate. You're engaging in sophistry and you're engaging with a disingenuous asshole at that point. The debate ended. A debate should be dispassionate, though you may be passionate about the subject. This isn't taught anymore. I don't know why. If everyone understood that, half the problems in this world would already be dealt with. Macadamia says, I got not much to debate with you. I'm just from the hippie side. Yeah, ad hom suck. I mean, don't get me wrong. A little playful ribbing is fine, right? But you know, there's a line, right? Like I'm a red-blooded patriarchy asshole. I get it. I'm a little machismo. At least this character is. Believe it or not, if you knew me in person, anybody who's met me in person knows how soft-spoken I am. I mean, yes, I'm a little boisterous, but I mean, I'm not like this in person. Anybody who's met me in person knows that if I am like this, it's an act or it's temporary. D.H. Thorne, this character I play on here, is feeling his oats, and he knows he's on, and he knows he's in the spotlight, and he's playing this character. And this is a character that I play easily. It's like a mask that is comfortable to me, and it allows me to speak this way. But most of the time, ask my wife. I'm almost a pussy. Most of the time. This is almost like my Tyler Durden. Maybe it is my Tyler Durden. In fact, if you knew me when I was younger, there's a reason I liked Fight Club, because I had so much going on with possession that I felt like when I saw that movie, I'm like, oh my fucking God, do I have multiple personality disorder? Is that what this is? And one of them's a fucking, spirit? What the fuck? Because I knew exactly what that was like. Everything that happened in that movie, I've been through the equivalent of. Not the events of the movie, but the situation, almost exactly. I'm not sure what Curson was saying here. I don't know what he's responding to. He says, I don't see how you couldn't DH. I'm not sure what that means, but I know it's a compliment in some way. I'm not sure how. I don't know what I said that spurred that. It's like one of those things where it's like I see that and I go, it reminds me of this one comedian. I can't think of it. Lewis Black. And he was describing the situation where he was in a restaurant and he half heard a conversation And he heard some lady say, if it wasn't for my horse, I wouldn't be in college. And for the rest of his life, he's wondering, what the fuck does that even mean? I actually had when I was going to Iron Garden last, one of the last times, I was joking that it's like non-duality is like my whole personality. Like it's not, but it's what I'm so passionate about, that and magic and mysticism and all that. I'm so passionate about these subjects that it is like my personality, but it's not. It's just I am so deeply into it that I eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. It's what fulfills me. Ooh, that's not a bad invention, Cosmic. That's a good idea. Cosmic Tofu says, well, all we need is AI to tag the timestamp. Well, you know what? I could put, actually, you know what? Yeah. There we go. The only problem with that, though, is I need then to, like, rewind the tape and know what I said. But can you guys, I don't know. If I turn on timestamps, does it turn it on for all of you or just me? I think it's just for me. I'm not sure what that's. Okay. Apparently it's happened to make mine a 99. Just don't challenge your fans to arm wrestle after they donate and then back out. That is lame. That happened to me. What in the world are you talking? Dude, what is that? Like, what is there like another YouTuber that this? That sounds funny. I actually like to arm wrestle with my shoulders fucked up right now. I actually really enjoy arm wrestling. At least I used to. I guess that's just the machismo side of me. I used to enjoy them. A lot. I haven't done it in a while though. I'm actually not as strong as I was because between my shoulder and working more at this and not my day, like when I'm working at my day job at the nursery, which I'm only doing part-time now, like 3 or 4 days a week. If I'm doing it a lot, like I get pumped. Like after a busy spring unloading those trucks, like I haven't measured it in a while, but the last time they're probably smaller now. The last time I measured my biceps, they're fucking 21 inches around. I'm 6'1", and I was pushing 320 for a while till I went on keto and lost about 100 pounds. So they're probably like pushing 20 inches now, which is pretty fucking big. So I usually win arm wrestling matches. And when I don't, it fucking hurts because to lose when you get that big, you're not like two people of more average build when they arm wrestle, they're within the tolerances of bones and joints as they have, like they're pretty, when you start reaching, you know, when you can start curling 85 pounds like I do with each arm when I go to the gym, you're putting strain on joints that they're not, even if they're trained, that you can still, you can lose, you can lose something. Yes, the wrists are almost all of it. And that's why I do lose. If I lose, it's usually my wrist that I fail. Absolutely, Mac. Yes, make mine and I almost 100%. But I have other tricks too. So I know I look buff, but I could look buffer. Like I don't feel as buff as, I mean, I know like in person, like most people are like, I'd fight that. Never mind. That's happened to me. Like people are like, I would fight him. And then they, nope. But I'm a pussycat unless you piss me off. I am the least likely guy to start a fight. I really am. But I trained to fight when I was younger. That was my passion, like this is now. So I used to be, oh, make mine a 99. You're drummer? What's up, drummer? Wait, I am a drummer from the Discord, my friend, Christopher, or are you Christopher? If you're Christopher, what's up, Christopher? If not, well, nice to meet you, make mine a 99. You're also a drummer because I know a cool guy named Drummer. But no, I'm actually a pacifist, but not in the I won't fight you, but in the I don't like to fight you. I don't like conflict anymore. When I was younger, oh yeah. I used to love, and it wasn't like a fight because I was just about teaching martial arts. So it wasn't really a fight. It was usually more of a, I don't know. The last fight I had was in 7th grade. Everything after that was more of a, I'm stopping someone from attacking me. Like it wasn't really a fight. Now, to be fair, when I'm bragging about how much I can curl, unfortunately, because of carpal tunnel, which is one of the reasons I lose when I do lose, I got to do it on the machines now. When I was younger and everything was working, with free weights, I don't know what it was. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, free weights, my max. I think my max was around 65 when I was like 25-ish. I think. Fuck, I don't remember. I'll never remember. That's so long ago. But last time I went to the gym using the curling machines, because I drop weights if I'm not careful. Because, like, if I could, I'd strap it to myself and not use my hands at all. Because when this fucker gets hot, you know what I mean? Like when it starts to swell, like I can't feel my pinky fingers or anything. It's bad. Like I can't tie my shoes. It gets that bad. Like, and it stays that way for days. So I can't do heavy weight anymore in my hands. But if I use the machines, it's not the same, because it's more, the way it works, it's more stabilized. So I'm less likely to drop it. So I can do it that way. So I'll set the pin to like 160, 180, something like that, because it's a 2-arm machine. So I'll do, basically I'm 2-arm curling 180, basically. Something in that ballpark. When I'm in good shape. Like today I could probably do like 120, right? But when I'm in shape and exercising, I'm probably around, I think the last was about 180. I'm pretty sure. And when I say that, that's my max, meaning it's like I can do 3 of them, you know, like 3 solid reps, and then it's like, so my workout weight was around 150-ish. I don't know. I just did what hurt, and I stayed at whatever I could do for 10 solid reps and do that 3 times. That's my workout weight. But at the nursery that I work at, like, we're routinely lifting pots that are 10 gallons of dirt and water. And 10 gallons of dirt and water, like I'll have, actually that's a small pot. A lot of the times I'll be carrying 20, 25 gallon pots, one in each hand, like a tree. I'm literally carrying 2 trees, one in each hand, and putting them on it. So that's why my shoulders are fucked up, because like a lot of guys like me, we just work through the pain and we just ignore it, and we're doing damage the whole time like an idiot. And I'm 47 going on now. I'm 45 going on 47. I can't do it like I used to, guys. I'm starting to run down, like, and I'm accepting it. Like, I'm going to age gracefully. I don't give a fuck. So I'm 46 going on 47. I don't care anymore. Like, it's fine. I figure if I live to 60, 65, I win the game as far as I'm concerned. And if I make it to 80 or 90, that's awesome. So long as it's not diaper or dementia, I don't care. I've got pictures of me doing this somewhere. The Christmas season's fun because the trees weigh nothing by the end of the year, because so like I'll take a big ass like 8-foot Christmas tree, like, boosh, let's go, guys. But so does everybody else there. Believe it or not, there's guys half my size that they got in some ways better stamina because they're smaller, but they do most of the same things. Maybe they don't do a tree in each hand, but they do just as much, maybe more work than me, because they're lighter and lower drag. So being strong ain't everything, believe it or not. Being strong helps. The stronger you are, believe it or not, strength training makes you more able to withstand pain, because you've got to work through the pain to do the weight training. So you get a higher pain tolerance by being a weight trainer. Cardio was never a thing I did a lot, obviously, but when I'm actively exercising, my cardio is actually really good. I'm there with my son before he went in the Navy, and we went on the exercise bikes, and it's those kind where you can read your heart rate while you're doing it. And he's in better shape than me by what he looks like. And his heart rate would shoot up to like 180 and like fluctuate all over the place. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you have a heart problem, dude? Like, that's crazy. And he wasn't even putting it like on the uphill climb or anything. It was just level at like the second setting, like easy peasy. And it's like his heart. I'm like, dude, are you okay? Is that because you have so much salt in your diet? Mine goes to 120 and stays pegged there, and I don't feel anything. Like I'm working out, like I feel, but I don't feel any heart thing, no pressure, no, just my heart. I don't know. which actually makes the whole, like, because I'll get something like angina in my neck, which I think has more to do with, it's not my heart yet, it's my just general, probably from too much salt and cholesterol or some shit. I'm probably getting hardening arteries or some shit. Whatever. I'll get it checked out sooner or later, and they'll tell me I'm on death's door and I need a stent, and I'll go, oh shit, here goes my youth, I need a stent. At 46, I need a stent. At 47, I need a stent. But if I exercise and cut the salt down, I don't feel it. It goes away. So I can cure it by changing my behavior, so I'm not going to worry about it yet. Oh, you're welcome, Kelly. And honestly, Kelly's thanking my son for his service. And, you know, he's doing it for the love of it. And, you know, and he would say, yeah, my wife just said, and he would be the first to say thank yous for the support. Not just because they trained him to say it, by the way, because they do. But he really means it. I mean, he loves it. This is his passion. He's a chef, and he just, you know, in the Navy, even when you're a chef, you're everything. You know, you wear a lot of hats in the Navy. So that's his, yeah, they do everything. Like, he does security, he does damage control, security. It's just he focuses on being a chef. So, and believe it or not, being a chef is actually dangerous, because when a ship gets hit, very often they take the hit in the galley because of the way they turn the ship and everything. It's like, I don't know why. So it's like, I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, that's a safe job. And then he's like, actually, there's a good chance I'll get hurt if I'm working while we're attacked anyway, because they're usually not cooking while they're being shot at, but it could happen. So, oh no, yeah, he's in birthing one, which is just as bad. So, depending upon what he's doing, he could be screwed. Oh fuck. Yeah. What can I say, guys? Like, but that's his passion, and we felt really, you know, that was a dramatic story too, because when we felt more confident about this country and who was running it at the time, it was like a no-brainer. He's like, I want to join the Navy. I'm like, good, this is a good time for it then. And then the fucking dementia-ridden moron got in, and the New World Order started taking over, and he's like, shit. And he put it off for a year. And by the end of that year, it was clear that there was no other solution. The Navy was the only thing for him. Like, he tried, he thought about it. He's like, well, maybe I'll work for Home Depot. I'm like, really? With your education and your brain, or something like that. It was some kind of dead end thing. I'm like, really? With your brain, don't do what I did, kid. Like, you're better than me with that. Like you don't have ADD, you know, like you can make something of yourself, man. Don't sell yourself short. Don't stick around just because you got this girlfriend that, you know, whatever, you know, live your life, buddy. Just like you're gonna, so we just said, you know what? It's not optimal, but your dream is the Navy, not this other crap. And to say don't do your dream because of politics, you know, maybe the way we solve this problem is with more people like you in the military, you know, more people like you putting yourself into the situation to help, because he's a good kid, you know, and we're so proud of him. He's got the right attitude most of the time. He's a young guy, so he gets angry and shit. He's got a good attitude about it. And so yeah. Artful Notion, did you really slice your finger? Don't do that. Are you okay? Go get a napkin or something. Put pressure on it, bro. Peeling potatoes. Yeah, all right, I think you're trolling. And if you're not trolling, hurry up and get help, man. Don't sit here listening to me. Get some help. Ninurta says, DH, one of my Latin King bros, is a Navy SEAL. That's pretty badass. You know, like, he doesn't want to do that. But he does want to be a Master Chief of culinary arts. So I guess that's on the badass side. That is his dream still, to do that. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he couldn't be a Navy SEAL anyway. He's colorblind. So he's really limited on what rates he can have. Like, he can't do much. And culinary arts is one of the few he could do. He actually scored high enough on his test, he could have done anything. Yeah, he got a 95 on, what is it, the AS 85? Whatever it is, he scored high enough he could do anything in the field. He could have been a nuke guy, he could have been any job he wanted. But because of his fucking, color blindness, he was really limited. Yeah, they do. They do put him through some crazy shit, and it's all about the will. It's like the post I made today about the will if you were on Facebook. Wars are won in the will. And if you don't have the will to hack it in that training, and they put you through the ringer because they want to know that if you're in a life and death, you'll have the will to make it through. If you have the will to make it through just for clout, or not clout, you know what I'm saying? Just for the honor. And just because you want to do it. If you have the willpower to do that, then you have the willpower to fight a war at that level of danger. So it's all about the will. The thing is, even if I would, like, here's the thing. People are like, oh, I couldn't do it. I'm not strong enough. No, that's the point. No one's strong enough. Like when you see what they got to do, the whole point is to break you and to see if you keep going while broken. It's not about being stronger and faster and better than the other guys. It's literally, can you take it? It's literally like seeing how much torture you can endure. That's literally and can you do it in a team environment and this and that? They want to see where you break and why, and if breaking you is enough to make you quit. Because interestingly enough, you can be broken and still not quit. And they want the guys that don't quit. So anybody who makes it as a SEAL, if I had to fight somebody who's a SEAL, I'm not necessarily worried that they're a better fighter than me. I'm worried they're not going to stop. So when I was like doing bouncing, I didn't do a lot of it. Like I didn't get into a lot of fights, but if I'm thinking back on it, I'd be worried about them, not because I think they're going to have better technique or be tougher. No, it's that if I break this dude's arm, is he going to stop? Probably not, because he's been through hell. He's probably going to be like, I got another one. I mean, I'm making light of it. It probably wouldn't be that way, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to stop and they're not going to hesitate. Like, I'm going to be like, this is a person. He might black out on me, So no, I'm going to play it safe. I like that. Yeah, who said that? I see the quote. Tommy's quoting somebody. He didn't know it couldn't be done, so he did it anyway. Yeah, group punishment. There is no individual, only the collective. Yep. And unfortunately, a lot of those guys afterwards, man. Oh, that's, speaking of which, I'm going to announce this now. I don't know why. It's kind of like a virtue signal, I admit. But it's something I'm dreaming of doing. Once I start doing rituals and things for hire again and whatever else, I really want to aim at veterans a little bit. I want to give them a break. I want to give them a discount and all that. I want to see if I can devise some things that veterans would appreciate, There's a lot of veterans in my Discord community and in my friend circle. And I think a lot of them, especially the ones that have been really in bad situations or whatever, they need this. They need this in ways that a lot of other people, I mean, we all need it, but like they have a special challenge. But here's the thing. Here's the irony. Suffering makes it easier to wake up. Did you know that? In almost every tradition, there's an understanding that without suffering, we don't achieve moksha in the first place, because we don't bother looking. If everything's fun, you don't look for liberation. So it requires some suffering. So interestingly enough, veterans are actually in some ways easier to wake up because they've suffered so much. It's true. Why do you think I like this in the trenches left-hand path? It's like I have it on easy mode. A lot of you guys are receptive because you've been through shit, and I can use some of that to help you, potentially. Potentially. Because we've all been through shit. I didn't go to war, but if you knew my past, you'd know I can empathize with pretty much most forms of suffering pretty well. Pretty well. There's limits, but I can go pretty far into suffering and get it. But yeah, hopefully, like, you know, I've just, so much has been, so many breakthroughs this month. The book, I don't want to say too much because then you shoot your load, but I've so got it. Like, I've so got so much. It's coming together finally. The hard part is pretty much done. It's just getting it out and then putting the process there as well. And again, if you listen to my YouTube videos a lot, you might not be surprised by 90% of what you're reading. It's a lot of it is arguments I've used in streams and things I've talked about, but it'll be in one place, and maybe that'll like make it click for you guys. The thing is, there's so much difficulty in speaking things that cannot be spoken of. You have to use so much allegory and simile, and I actually consider it one of my specialties. Like, if you listen to me talk, especially about the higher stuff, it's just analogy and simile and metaphor all day long because there's no other way to say it. How do you explain the value of the number 2 without also trying to explain the value of 1 and 3? The only way you can describe the number 2 is to describe 1 and 3. And in the same way, trying to describe the divine is a little bit like that. You can't say what the divine is. You have to say what it isn't, and then aim at what it is in the middle. That's why you have the whole neti, via negativa, all of these negation ontologies, because that's the only way to say what it is by saying what it's not. And when there's nothing left, then you get it. But that actually makes it hard. It's so easy just to be like, it's consciousness. Consciousness, that's it. And then go from there. Like, that's such an easy, direct thing. But for some reason, I think that still challenges people, because most people don't have a real conception of what consciousness is. Not even like a textbook, dictionary understanding. And motherfucking material scientists have no fucking clue what consciousness is. The one thing that I always laugh whenever I watch materialists try to explain consciousness, it's like listening to an 8-year-old. No. It's like trying to listen to a virgin 12-year-old describe having sex. That's what it's like. They have no fucking clue what they're talking about. That's why the meme of this video is, the hard problem of consciousness. It's not a hard problem for the non-dualist at all. The only reason consciousness is a hard problem in science is because they don't think that anything but atoms exist. Consciousness is cake. It's the easiest fucking thing. That's why it's so hard. It's so obvious, it's hard. It's like people living in the Middle Ages who didn't know what air was. Right? They thought that there was nothing between them but some kind of an ether or something. They didn't know, Now, you're looking right at it, but you don't see it. You're looking at consciousness right now, and you don't see it. Some people, Kelly would be wrong. Raquel Kelly. Consciousness is not energy. Anything you can define is not it. Like if I say it's consciousness, that's a lie too. It's not consciousness either. Consciousness is a word. Consciousness is a word that points at it, though, very directly. Energy does not. Energy does not point at the divine at all. Energy points at a manifestation in divinity. This is why I take a giant fucking shit on 99% of New Agers and occultists and all of this nonsense. Those things are legitimate manifestations. So when I say take a shit on them, it's not wrong to visualize energy and magic and all. That's all fair game. Do whatever you got to do for your symbolic action. But the moment you think magic is an energy force or consciousness is energy, it's just, you know what I'm going to do for you as your fans? That's you're just going deeper into the delusion. Consciousness points directly at what it is. In other words, when you call it consciousness, you're pointing directly at it. When you call it energy, you're pointing over there, not at it. But this is the difficulty, because you can still play that game. It's not that it's wrong to play the game if you know it's a game. Like, if you know GTA 5 is a game, then you can, let's put it like this. Let's say I took you, gave you amnesia drugs, and hooked you into VR to play GTA 5. Would you do any of the things that you're supposed to do in that game? Most of you are a good person and probably wouldn't. Most of you wouldn't go and fuck a hooker and then kill her and try and take her money and drive away. But in GTA 5, you get an achievement for doing that. So you can play the game if you know it's a game. When you know it's a game, you're free to play it. When you don't know it's a game, it plays you. As soon as you figure out it's a game, the sooner you can truly play the game. And I've only started to really get how much of a game it is. I thought I knew. I had a pretty good idea in 2018 when I started making videos. But I really know now. Like before, I believed it was a game. That's a low level of enlightenment. Belief is not real. Belief's just another noise. I now know it's a game. Occasionally I'll forget, but I know it's a game. And that liberates you by itself. That's moksha. That's it. But when I call it a game, that's not it either, because I'm thinking of a human idea of a game. I'm talking about something more primordial of a game, a primordial kind of play. So let's take the word game out, because game implies that there's a thing. This is why they call it the play of Brahman. Because it's not a game with rules. The game doesn't have rules, but you can put rules into it. When you play, you can make up rules to turn it into a game, sure. So this is all play. This is all fantasy. It's just very vivid fantasy. And you can play it any way you want. You want to go live in the Star Wars universe? There's nothing stopping you except your own psyche, your own ego, your own attachment. That's it. And until you're ready to just let go of this, the best you can do is like play a video game like Star Wars Survivor or something. By the way, fucking love that series, by the way. Cal Kestis, awesome character. Fucking, I love Fallen Order. I love Survivor. Can't wait to see what the third one is. Bugs suck in Survivor, by the way. It is buggy, but it's not like buggy like a Bethesda game, okay? People are like, all like, it's the most buggy, shitty game ever. And I get it. EA sucks. Believe me. I don't mean EA quitting. I mean EA, the video game company. EA sucks. So you're right to criticize them. They're a AAA studio. They charge a fortune for a game, but Survivor is good and Fallen Order is good. If you like Metroidvania and if you like Star Wars, and the first one in particular, I'm going to say I like the essence of Fallen Order better, but overall I like Survivor better. So like the essence of Fallen Order is like a good Star Wars like movie, like, or like a good season of a good Star Wars show. and it really captures the essence of that Jedi coming of age, hero's journey. Survivor is a different, cultural metaphor. It's a little harder. It's more about being a survivor and being isolated. So it's a little different, but they're both exquisite games. I love them. Yeah, EA used to be pretty decent, but they definitely suck now. Because they're all big giant corporations. They don't take risks. They're not they're not developers. They're production companies. So they're corporatized. So they're not about making quality games and taking risks. They're about making bottom lines, and that's different. That's artisanship, not art anymore. The fact that they occasionally put out a good game like Fallen Order, though, that's cool. I'm glad that that still exists. Like I rate that game, not counting bugs, both of them I rate a 10. I just do. They're in my, man, I don't know where I'd put them, but they're high on the list of good games. High on the list. Diablo, I don't know. I'll look into it. I'm not into fantasy lately. Again, like I flip around sci-fi, fantasy, whatever. I'll have to see. I have so many games on my list. I still have to play Red Dead Redemption. I still have to play Shadows of Mordor. I still have to play fucking Cyberpunk 2077. I still Titanfall, fucking Speederman, and there's just so much. There's just so much. Actually, make mine a 99. The whole slogan is reality is a dream, make it lucid. I think the camera's cutting off the top of it. So the whole slogan is reality is but a dream, make it lucid. I know, Tommy. I know it was supposed to be, but you know what? You know what I played instead because I don't have time to play games because they distract me too much. Like I'll get into them and then I don't write, so I got to be very careful. Days Gone and Mad Max. Oh, Mad Max is a good game. I don't know if you guys played that. That's a good game. No, I never played Drowned God. I don't think I ever heard of it. How old is it? Because I used to play a lot of games back in the day. Like way back in the day, that was another one of the things I was addicted to was gaming. Yeah, the first Red Dead was good. I agree. I should do, I don't know, Christian. I don't know, because I did some streams on here, but I want them to be topically on what this channel's about. So I don't know. I'd be more inclined to do Star Wars so I can comment on the Star Wars stuff because Jediism is a thing. And if seen, it's so adjacent to Zen and non-duality in so many ways. Like when you hear a Jedi going, there is only the Force, like there's only consciousness. We get it. Like you're all talking about the same thing. So Jediism is a thing. It's pretty, I could definitely riff on Jediism, especially while playing, because you can definitely take, Jedi stuff as an overlay, like a stylistic overlay. I do. You guys see what I'm into. A part of me emulates a little bit of Jedi stuff because I've always loved, I thought they were the coolest fucking thing when I was a kid. Not everything. I don't do the whole, light side, dark side, but the fundamental mysticism of it. Yeah. I could, CJ. It's not a horrible idea. It's just, I would probably take a shit on Jediism itself and try to like non-dualize it. And that piss people off because there's people who legit believe in Jediism. It's a religion now. So that's cool. The irony is to do Jediism right, you really got to take Taoism and Buddhism and a little bit of non-duality and screw it all together. And so it's a good thing because there's actually a YouTube channel where this guy takes like the Tao Te Ching and makes it like the Force Te Ching or whatever he called it, and replaced the word Tao with Force, or I think that's what they did. And they read the Tao Te Ching but replaced the word Tao with Force and made it a fucking Jedi. It's fucking cool. I love that shit. Like that's brilliant. Fucking brilliant. It's a great way to introduce people to these deeper things. It's so wonderful. I love it. Fucking love it. I know, Christian. I want to play it, but because of the bugs and because of some bullshit, I don't know. But I have it. It's sitting there right on my heart. It's sitting there right, like it's literally, I'm pretty sure it's the center icon on my screen. Yep, it's pretty much Red Dead Redemption and that are like next to each other as the central icons on my screen right now. So I have no excuse. I'm just being a curmudgeonly asshole, a stubborn prick. Part of it is this, I'm going to be honest with you, is I know it's going to be a long haul game, and I'm usually not good for games that take more than 30 hours. Like I'm usually like right around 20 hours. It's an ADD thing. Like once a game starts stretching into 30 or 40 hours, I start looking for the door. So when I was playing Fallen Order, perfect length game, beat it in about 20-25 hours, and I felt complete. Playing Survivor though, I got about 30 hours in, I started flagging. I still wanted to beat it, I want to know how it ends, but like I took like several days of break. Whereas my wife would play it nonstop till she beat it. I had to take a break. Well, she had to work, so she couldn't play. But you know what I mean. I took intentional. I was just like, I don't feel like it tonight. I don't feel like. So when I look at a game like Cyberpunk 77, Resident Evil Village, I'm looking at all the ones I got in the center, so I remember to play them. We're talking like 100-hour games, 80-hour games, 60-hour games, even 40 is a lot. So if we're talking like a 40-hour game, because I don't like just playing main stories, I like playing them. I'm not a completionist, but I like doing all the big stuff and the main stories and the side quests. And if I really like it, I'll 100% it, but most of the time I'm like an 80 or 90%er. So if a game is like longer than 40 hours these days, because I have so many other things I'd rather be doing, like mystical meditation, contemplation, writing, I just can't do it. I just can't. I want to, I just can't. I think there'll come a day when I'm like retiring from all this crap and I just let myself play games for like a week straight again. That will happen maybe even this year. I don't know. Probably after I finish this book, I'll probably start playing games again. Like more regularly. I probably will. But I mean, I do have a second YouTube channel called, I think it's also called DH Thorne. I haven't used it in a while. I could stream to that, or at least, I don't know if I could stream to it, but I think it was Christian. Somebody said, no, CJ said I should stream it over Discord. That's not a bad idea. I did used to do that, but nobody watched it, so I stopped doing it. I used to stream Mad Max on there, but only like one person tuned in. But if you guys think that that's something you'd like me to do, maybe I'll start streaming when I won't talk to you. Like if I'm playing a game, I don't want to, there's times I want to stream and talk, but there's a good chance that if I'm streaming, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to like mute myself and I'm going to like mute everybody else. And you guys can just watch me play if you want. But I actually would prefer to stream it so I get some interaction with you guys. Like when I did the Mortuary Assistant, did you guys like that one? Mortuary Assistant was good because it's a short game and some of it was pretty spooky. So it was a pretty good game to stream. I like streaming that one. Yeah, that too, Tommy, but that's kind of a trap. I get it because I agree with you because I think the same way. But when I think that way, I rebuke myself and say, that's bullshit. Are you having fun? Is there something you're supposed to be doing? If there's not something you're supposed to be doing and you're just doing it for fun and it's free time, why not entertain yourself? Here's my point, Tommy. Here's my point. Here's why I think that's stupid for me. I don't know about for you. For me, it's stupid. Do you know how much I doom scroll on this fucking thing every day? It gives me agita, it gives me stress and tension. That's probably why I have the fucking pains in my neck when I'm running and shit. If I could take this thing and literally hurl it away and never, ever fucking look at it again, I would do that in a heartbeat because this is the most wasting of time I have in my life. That doesn't mean it doesn't have good sides. I use it for research. I use it for all this shit. But the negatives are starting to outweigh the positives with this thing. Same thing with social media. The negatives are outweighing the positive. I can't wait for this culture war political bullshit to be over because I'll be less attracted to it like a fly to shit. And that's literally what it's not a moth to flame. That's got some kind of poeticness in it. No, this is a fly to shit. And it's one of my triggers. It's one of my shadows is this drama in the world. And it's fucking getting to me. So I dream of a day when I don't need this thing anymore. And when these fuckers don't require me to have one to do my business. But that day will probably never happen. So I'm going to have to learn somehow to control myself. Video games, by comparison, is nothing. It's a fun pastime. It's like watching a healthy, TV show or something. It's not bad. This fucking thing, doom scrolling on this thing or on your computer, dude, that's the worst. It's just the worst. Oh, a trope. Don't play the video games. I get it though. Some people like that can be a problem. It just goes to show you got to resonate with the person you're with. It's not that it's wrong to play the video games. It's like somebody out there would have not minded that. But for you, that wasn't fulfilling. So you got to find the kind of person that fulfills you. Like don't judge them. Just recognize that you weren't compatible, I guess, is all I'm saying. Maybe they were a jerk on top of that. I'm just saying with that little bit of information, I would just say you just weren't compatible. That's all. Somebody out there, you're probably with somebody now that's fine, right? So a little bit of it, but some people can get sick. They'll play it too much. Like, I don't know. When I was younger, I used to play too much. Now I'm at a good point where if I play like 2 hours a week, that's pretty good. Like that's more than I usually do. Survivor, lately I've been playing it more than that, but that's because that's a game. It's not just a game. There's philosophy in it. There's good story. There's all this shit. Like that's a different thing. It's exercising my brain. And believe it or not, while I'm playing a game, I'm often also daydreaming about other things. Like I'm also like, while I'm fighting monsters, I'll be like, that scene where he said, there is only the force. That reminds me of there is only the Tao, or there is only consciousness. So like I'm having epiphanies while I'm playing the game. So it's not a waste of time. It's inspiring me to realize stuff. In fact, one of the cool things was realizing that within the divine, Star Wars and Star Trek and all that is real. We're just not tuned into it here. From a material perspective, it looks like a multiverse in which everything exists. From a non-dualist perspective, it's a consciousness in which anything can manifest. Same thing, just inverting the idea. Look into Fallen Order first. Play them in order, because Fallen Order, you don't want to play Survivor as the first game. You can. You're not going to get the hit. It's not going to hit you the way it should. Play Fallen Order first. It's got a good story and it's short enough. It's like a prequel at this point, and it's good to play. It's if you play that one, then everything in Survivor will hit so hard, so fucking hard. Just like Mass Effect. If you didn't play the first one, Mass Effect 2 doesn't hit as hard. So. Atropa's like, well, yeah, just fucking stop is getting you. Exactly. You're not wrong, Atropa. You're 100% right. That's what I fucking hate about this shit, man. That's what I hate about this fucking crap. Because you'd think like a guy like me would just turn it off, but that's why it's an attachment. The difference is I'm aware of my attachments. Most people aren't. And I'm sure I have a few I'm not aware of, but I'm aware of most of them. But that doesn't mean that you can just let them go. Just because you know they are doesn't mean that you just suddenly drop them, but you're never going to drop them if you don't know about it. So there is that. I'm on the right track. All right. I'm feeling a sore throat coming on from the yapping. What are we up to? We're at, oh yeah, we're at just about, yeah, we're exactly perfect timing. So I guess I'm going to do my closing arguments here, guys. Materialism is wrong. Consciousness, non-duality, that is all there is. Materialism is an appearance in consciousness. Consciousness is what you are. Consciousness is the divine itself. Consciousness is the secular word for God. God is the religious word for consciousness. They mean the same thing. When that clicks in you, and it really fucking clicks, Magic is fucking child's play. You don't even need it any. You can do magic just by going, that's the reality I want. Okay. And there's always a way to manifest it. But it's got to be in line. It can't take you too far out of your comfort zone. That's the thing that people don't realize. You can't just go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow and be a dinosaur. You can dream you're a dinosaur, though. So there is a limit, but that limit is self-imposed. It's not a rule. The only rule is that you imposed on yourself. That's it. Bing Bong, my favorite character. I don't know if you say that, Patchwork, because you know one of my favorite characters in that movie, Inside Out, I think it was the movie, was the kid's imaginary friend that just went bing bong, bing bong. I don't know what it is. I love that guy. But yeah, bing bong. Thank you, brother. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all next week. And for those of you who live in the tri-state area, I will be at Iron Garden on the 30th doing a short talk about magical tools and then hanging out all night. So if you are in Newark or you're in that area and you want to go to Iron Garden and hang out, June 30th, I will be there all night with my wife, and it'll be a good time, all gothed up. So if you're in the area, let's go. All right, gang, good night. I'm done. Good night, everybody. With all the love that I have to give in the blackest depths of my black little heart, don't forget to mind the shadows and don't hold in a fart.